Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to the December 7th, 2022 meeting of the Daytona Beach City Commission. We're delighted to have each of you with us. This time, we would ask Madam Clerk for a roll call.
Commissioner May.
Here.
Commissioner Cantu.
Here.
Commissioner Henry.
Here.
Commissioner Reed.
Here.
Commissioner Paris.
Here.
Commissioner Strickland.
Here.
Mayor Derek L. Henry.
Here, we will now have the invocation, which will be led by Commissioner Reed, followed by the Pledge of Allegiance, led by Commissioner May. Please rise for the invocation and the pledge.
I will bless the Lord at all times. His praises shall continually be in my mouth. And Lord, when I wake up this morning, I once again say thank you. Thank you for a beautiful day, a day my eyes had never seen. The sun rose, the moon rose, the wind blew, the ocean was calm. And for that, we say thank you. Lord, as we gather tonight to make decisions on behalf of this city, we pray for all of our citizens, all of our businesses, and all of our visitors, and every family that's represented under my voice in these chambers this evening. We ask that you would give us a sound mind, one where we can rest tonight on the decisions that we've made. We'll be careful to give you all the glory and all the honor. And Lord, as we prepare for this holiday season, we pray for all those who have lost loved ones, those who are fighting for our freedom, because freedom is not free. We pray for all of the staff that run this city, that keeps it going. We lift everyone up before your throne, and we give you the glory, the honor, and the praise. In your matchless name I pray. Let us all say, amen. Amen. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
We'll now move on to item number 4, which is approval of the minutes of the November 2nd, 2022 City Commission meeting.
Second.
Take a motion from Commissioner Henry and a second from Commissioner Reed. Do we have any questions or comments? All those in favor, let it be noted by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, same sign. Motion carries 7-0. This time, we will have our agenda. If there are any changes, our city manager will address them.
Yes, Honorable Mayor, Commissioners, we're adding a presentation. Sorry about that. Honorable Mayor, Commissioners, we're adding a presentation, Embry-Riddle Aeronautical University Research Park update, revised item 8P, Finance Department Bike Week sponsorship funds. Commissioner Henry and Commissioner Reed will be donating $400 each to the Parks and Recreation Department to be used for our Christmas parade and Santa run. Add item 8Q, Legal Department retainer agreement with Michael Kahn, PA. Add item 8R, City Manager's Office Coronavirus Local Fiscal Recovery Fund distribution. And add item 10E, Growth Management and Planning Streamline Hotel NASCAR Founders Day celebration event.
Motion to accept the agenda with the said changes.
We have a motion from Commissioner Reed and a second from Commissioner May. Do we have any other questions or comments? Hearing none, all those in favor, let it be noted by saying aye.
Aye.
Those in opposition, same sign. This motion carries 7-0.
Okay, we'll now move on to item number 6, which is our presentations. First presentation is Public Works, Florida Department of Transportation, Mason Avenue Corridor Planning Study.
Good evening, Commissioners. I'm Andy Holmes with the City Manager's Office. We have Stephen Buck here with Florida Department of Transportation. He's going to do a short presentation on the Mason Avenue project for us.
All right.
Thank you.
Good evening, everyone. My name is Stephen Buck. I'm with FDOT. I really appreciate the opportunity to come and present to you all tonight. On the agenda for tonight, we're going to be doing a short presentation on Mason Avenue, otherwise known as State Road 430. We have been conducting a corridor planning study on this particular roadway for some time now, and we wanted to come to present to you some of the details on that study. So on the next slide, I advanced it, sorry, I see it now. So for those of you who aren't familiar, this is the project location and a few just high-level corridor details. It starts at Clyde Morris Boulevard, runs easterly to North Beach Street. roughly just under 2.5 miles long, signalized intersections throughout, and transit mostly on the west side of the project location. So kind of the origination of this project is the department has a resurfacing project, something we call a 3R project or a maintenance project that is coming within these limits. Our roadways are made of asphalt pavement. They break down over time. So roughly about every 20 years, we have to come out and resurface the roadway pavement. So that's just the top surface of the pavement. Usually take off 1-2 inches of asphalt, then put the asphalt back. We also do ADA upgrades. That's the base minimum that the department has to do on these type of roadways as part of resurfacing. However, we've been partnering really well, especially with City of Daytona Beach, on a lot of projects, Oak Ridge, A1A, and this one was no different. We took up the opportunity to partner with City of Daytona Beach and try to identify other issues that were occurring in the corridor that we could potentially roll into our 3R projects. They're normally relatively fast-paced projects compared to some of our other longer 7, 10, 12-year long projects. Usually they have a 2-year design life and then they go straight into construction. So we tend to try to move relatively quickly on these to identify any issues that we could potentially solve within that 2-year design window. For this one, some of the things that we noticed, this slide, sorry, goes over what I was talking about, how we have the concept development that we've been working on, the resurfacing design phase, that's actually begun now. And then construction there is going to be right now it's set for July of 2024, which is our fiscal year 25. And then maintenance is the standard maintenance that we do on all our projects. So with this particular 3R, like I mentioned, we started partnering with several of the stakeholders in the area, going to talk to all the folks that live and work on the corridor. Some of the corridor characteristics that we gleaned from talking to folks and just our own engineering research, very limited right-of-way in the area, 70-foot generally, which is very small for a four-lane highway. Driveway locations and widths, some of them are outdated. Definitely drainage issues throughout the corridor, which kept coming up as we went through the project. Site distance obstructions, offset signalized intersections. It's kind of a unique one where some of the signalized intersections, the side streets don't quite line up in a plus pattern. They're slightly offset, and it has led to a little bit of crash issues along the corridor. Several sidewalk gaps that we hope to be able to fill. And then a couple other things, limited dedicated left turn lanes, bike facilities, ped crossings, and then bus stop accessibilities. We do a pretty thorough analysis of every issue that we can identify either through stakeholder relations or engineering research for the corridor. And then what we do then is look to see how we could plug that into our resurfacing project. With these projects, a lot of the cost comes from the asphalt perspective. And so if you can kind of leverage, okay, they're going to go ahead and repave the asphalt so I can move a stripe over, or I can go ahead and add a separate feature. It's usually the cost benefit is very high there for the department. So for some of the short-term improvements that we thought would be relatively easy to plug into this 3R, were signal upgrades. There's a couple of, you see there in the picture, it's called a mid-block crossing with a PHB. That's a pedestrian hybrid beacon. Y'all actually already have one on US 92 in front of the college there. They work really well. They're pedestrian actuated. I think we had 4 of those identified along the corridor for those shorter term improvements. Filling sidewalk gaps. There are several areas where it's very tight, but we were confident we were going to be able to fill in those sidewalk gaps so pedestrians could walk on both sides of the road the entire distance of the project. Driveway reconfigurations, from talking with some of the folks on the corridor, we did note that there were some driveways that were causing some potential conflicts with pedestrians as people tried to back in and out of driveways. Drainage improvements, minor, that we can kind of identify at first, but I'll get into that a little bit more later. And then raised crosswalks to help with speed management along the corridor and landscaping, though minimal. So this is just one example of one of the short-term solutions that we had kind of come up with and partnered with y'all on was a PHB location at a raised crosswalk. This is just an example of what it would look like. Again, we were looking at doing potentially up to 4 of these along the corridor at mid-block locations where pedestrians are already crossing today. It just provides them with that safer, more dedicated crossing location. So with every study, we always try to say, okay, what can we solve today? What can we kind of be able to put in now and build today? And then we say, what would we need to do towards the future? With this particular project, that got slightly influenced by the fact that currently there are a lot of grant opportunities, specifically related to resiliency and flooding. In fact, we just went through a exercise a few months back where we had to identify flooding locations within the district for specific grant opportunities. So given that this is in an underserved community, it's an area that has a lot of drainage issues, it was actually kind of perfect for one of those flooding type grants that we thought we'd be able to pursue. So we leaned into redesigning the entire drainage system. It's a very antiquated drainage system. Some pieces of it are even missing on our state road facility, which we're not proud of. So we're like, okay, is there a way for us to leverage a grant, stay within the 3R schedule, and then move forward with redesigning the entire system? When you do that, you have to reconstruct part of the road, which is fairly expensive. But it also lets us have the opportunity to change the typical section a little bit, put larger shared use paths out there for pedestrians and cyclists to both use, and then do some additional features at those offset intersections that I mentioned with a raised intersection where cars will have to, from the side street, cars will have to turn a little slower, increasing that safety, decreasing some of those conflict points that we normally see at those offset intersections. And then again, more opportunities for landscaping because we're reconstructing a portion of the road. This is kind of what that would look like. We don't show the reconstructed drainage system underneath, but it would be located underneath the roadway. And again, since we're reconstructing the about half of the outside lane, we're able to put in a new shared use path. And all that would come strictly from the flooding grant that we were going to be potentially looking at pursuing. And so with that, where we're at currently is we still have the 3R. We still are moving forward with the design of that. Right now, they're collecting survey and starting to move forward with some of the procedural aspects of drawing up the existing conditions for that particular project. We're going to, as far as today, we're going to be moving forward with our shorter term improvements of the 4 pedestrian hybrid beacons. We're going to continue to partner with the city to see is 4 the right number or the locations in the right location. As we move forward with those, definitely filling in those sidewalk gaps to increase that pedestrian safety and some of the other features that I mentioned before. With that, I'm done.
Do we have any questions?
Interesting draining question for you. So you're doing the drainage system in the future. Will there be any other impacts to the rest of the city when you're redesigning that drainage? Will it go somewhere else? Any ideas on that?
So usually what we see is we see impacts to the utility system. And so yes, we would end up coordinating with all the utilities that are in the corridor. They're usually housed with us underneath the sidewalk. This road is so old that some of them are even underneath the roadway itself, which is undesirable for the utilities. So sometimes they use that as an opportunity to upgrade their systems or relocate to somewhere where it's easier for them to access. But that is part of it. Whenever you're replacing a drainage system, there's a lot of utility coordination.
I know you wanted to wait to do this presentation for feedback from the residents. How many residents responded to this project? I'm just curious, and what was the main thing they were concerned about?
I don't have the exact number of residents, but as far as the concern goes, most people simply want better pedestrian bicyclist facilities for sure. All the people that we talked to along the corridor, because we did go business to business and try to talk to a lot of those folks as well, because obviously they live, work, play in the corridor. They were mostly concerned about increasing safety whichever way we can.
Okay, thank you.
I have a question. I know it's not until you actually get into the project that you'll know what you're dealing with, but is there an anticipated timeline or timeline under consideration for this project?
Yes, ma'am. So right now, July of 2024 is when we're slated to start construction.
And I want to know how long.
I'm sorry. How long will construction take? So far, there's been no flooding grant that's been able to be achieved. So we're going with what we can put within the 3R project itself, which would be what we characterize as shorter term improvements. So that for a 2.37 mile long project, given that we're not reconstructing the drainage system, that would probably only take a year to 18 months, roughly. But contractors will tell you rain days and other delay days, but a year to 18 months is what we've been seeing on similar type projects.
I was thinking about the businesses along the thoroughfare, particularly what happened with Orange Avenue, of just, them still being able to maintain their business and feed their families.
Yes,
Being
ma'am.
conscientious of that while we're under construction.
Absolutely. We have to maintain those entrances 24 hours.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, good deal. Any other questions? Yes, ma'am. Commissioner Parrish?
I'd like to know, after they did the reconstruction on Oak Ridge, have any traffic studies been done to see if those improvements actually helped?
So we have to typically wait a year for traffic to level out, if you will. There've been a lot of national studies on how long to wait after you make a change. There's varying timelines. The department, though, has it's definitely on our radar. And it's definitely one that we will be doing a traffic study on. It's still a little too soon. We want to wait for traffic to even out a little bit more. The one thing I can tell you is, for instance, the Zikla zippers, there was a concern about those getting hit whenever they first went out there. We have went out and studied how often we're replacing them, and it has drastically dropped from that first month of, anytime we put up new guardrail near the road, people hit it, and they do, and it's unfortunate, but it prevents them from going off the roadway. So anytime you introduce any new horizontal or vertical element, people do tend to hit it the first month to 3 months. So we have been monitoring that. It's really drastically went down. Speeds are typically down within the corridor, but it's nothing that we would necessarily say we've impacted it until after about a year is when we plan on doing the more heavy study.
Because this is the, I guess, style that you're going to follow throughout the Mason Avenue project?
Not quite. There's not enough room. So for that particular project, we went from 3 lanes down to 2 lanes, and we were able to put in like a dedicated bike facility. On this particular stretch of roadway, there's just no right-of-way, and to fit within that 3R schedule, we would need to go ahead and just construct it now. We are going to fill in the sidewalk gaps, though, which will help.
Okay, and another thing about the drains, you were talking about that you ran into some issues. What did you find when you were looking at the drains?
Oh, just that it floods severely in rainstorms that it shouldn't flood severely in, if I can simplify that for you. Normally, if you have a 100-year storm, at least half the lane should be open from water, and this road has more than half the lane taken up whenever a 100-year storm comes through.
Okay, and another thing, would we be able to select what kind of trees we'd want? Because the thing is, we have power lines that are
Absolutely.
exposed, so that would be an option.
Yeah, you guys have been phenomenal partners with us, especially on the tree selection. So it's been great from that perspective, because I think you guys maintain most of them.
And my last question about the pedestrian crosswalk lighting. I know it's very important because it gets foggy here. It's very hard to see people. I saw that you did have a type of lighting that lights the way in the pedestrian crosswalk. Would it be this IRWL, like an in-road way warning light fixture system, or is it something different?
So I don't quote me on the exact name, but it is an it's an in-roadway lighting system that flashes yellow whenever the pedestrian hybrid beacon flashes yellow. And so, yes, that's, a lot of drivers, even distracted drivers, they still have somewhat of an eye on the roadway, even if it's not above roadway level. And so that's to draw their attention at the roadway level, as well as they'll be lighting above.
Okay, thank you.
Do we have any additional questions?
No, I would like to call Andy up, if that's okay.
Just before, let me ask you this. You are going after grants because it's a flooding zone or issue. Is the same possibility possible for Nova Road?
Well,
Not possible?
It's possible for any roadway as long as the city's going to support it. If it falls within city limits or if it falls within county limits, it's definitely possible. They look at several factors, and we can bring those and discuss those, and I can discuss them with Andy or whoever you want. But it was that Mason Avenue checked a lot of the boxes of the factors that they're currently looking at, and it always changes slightly. But yes, absolutely, we could look.
I'm
at it.
saying that as it relates to the flooding issue, because the road floods a lot more than Mason.
Yep.
And that's what I'm referring to.
At our TPO meeting last Wednesday, I think I had the clerk send this over to you. Yes, there is a lot of grants out there for that as well.
Okay.
And Chair Barbara Gertman brought it up.
Okay. And so I guess what I'm asking you is that something that you could help us to identify to work on, or you, or someone? Or your team?
Absolutely, we'd be happy to. And the great thing, just so you know too, with these resurfacing projects is, one of the things they look for in the grants are you putting up any money to match the grant? And so if we're doing a resurfacing, the answer is yes, because we're already paying to resurface the road. So that can be our match. So
Okay.
whenever we're going out and doing these rivers, it makes it a lot more palatable whenever you're going after a grant and they're like, oh, you have money to match me? And so they're much more favorable towards it.
Okay, thank you. Okay, that's it. Andy?
Andy. Thank you. So we discussed up here a while back about a resolution accepting the first phase of this, the resurfacing project. And I think everybody was in agreement with a few changes that Andy and I think everyone received a copy of it. I would like to, at our last TPO meeting, the criteria, we have changed that a little bit, which we voted anonymously on that for drainage, I believe, safety, because safety is an issue, that it's going to score higher on projects. And the projects just actually, they're accepting applications right now, and the deadline's February 28, 2023. So I would like to put in the project for the second phase, and I think Andy's agreed to this.
Yeah, we can do that.
And FDOT, everyone's received an email. FDOT cannot put in the project. It would be us putting in the project to get TPO money. So I would like to do that if we're all in agreement, and we could do a second resolution, which Andy has a few things he would like to put in that resolution as well.
I'm working with Mr. Jagger on a draft of that, and then we'll get that back to everybody. So, and yes, the local agency would be the one to put the project on the priority list at the TPO, and that call for projects is open now, and our staff can file that application.
Okay. I have no objections. Does anyone else have an objection? No objection.
I don't know if I have enough information.
It'll
Because-
come back to you with the
Yeah,
resolution for
Okay.
your approval, and we'll take public comment at that time.
Okay, and I understand that.
Very good. I did want to clear up one other thing. When there was some discussion early on, and a lot of discussion about this project early on, and there was some concern about whether getting a grant for this project would then interfere with getting money for another project, and that isn't a concern at this time. So I don't see any concern with the kind of grants that are being applied for. It's not one project gets granted and that excludes another. It's not that way. So I just wanted to clarify that, put everybody's
And
mind at ease.
clarify, we do not have to match that project as well, but it
Correct.
does help if we could put some money in when the time comes.
Right. I would like to thank FDOT for their time tonight and their team for the great spirit of partnership in this project. It's been great to work with them.
Thank you. Well said. Appreciate that.
Thank you.
Thank you, Andy.
That concludes our presentation. Thank you to the Department of Transportation as well, folks.
And our consultant Miriam is out there, she's one of the consultants on the project.
And we would like to acknowledge Miriam Giabi and express our appreciation to you and your team for all that you do for us as it relates to transportation.
And Colleen, thank you.
And Colleen. Okay.
Okay. Yep. So we're going to move on to the next presentation, which was item 6B, and this was Embry-Riddle Aeronautical University.
Mr. Mayor, Mr. City Manager, and Commissioners, I'm Barry Butler, President of Embry-Riddle Aeronautical University. I have with me Rodney Cruz, who is our Chief Operating Officer and deals with all of our facilities. We're here tonight to talk about our research park and to make a request for a transfer of land from the city to allow us to continue the incredible growth that we've had so far. Before I start, though, I want to recognize you publicly. We were all at the event just an hour or two ago where we looked at the park along the river and what you folks have done in terms of working with the Browns and others to really change the face of downtown. It's amazing. I mean, quite honestly, I've lived here for 6 years now, and it's just really amazing. I'm here to present, I think, a complementary type of opportunity for continued growth in terms of job opportunities and economic development through Embry-Riddle. So let me just start with a quick update along Clyde Morris here. Where are we today? So this was really started just 5 years ago. And we do annual, or actually every 2 years, we'll get an outside group to give us an update on sort of the economic impact of what we've done so far. And these are the numbers from, it's called the Washington Group, $135 million in annual economic impact, 163 high-paying jobs. Those average, by the way, about $75,000 a year. Some are higher, some are lower, but the average is $75K. Internships for students, we've been able to recruit 5 international companies and over $100 million in outside funding. It's very unique being at the airport. It's only one of only 3 that we know of research parks in the country that actually have access to the airport, as we do through the taxiway Sierra that comes in there. And it's an incredibly effective incubator. Well, as you all know, it's also changing what it looks like. This is a shot, and Rodney has actually a nicer, this will be a video to show you what the new brown building will look like. And let me just play it. This is down Clyde Morris as you're going south. This is the new building that you're seeing here that will start construction or start design and construction pretty soon. This is a view as you drive down Clyde Morris looking towards the airport. This is facing a little bit to the north. You can see the attention to the landscaping along Clyde Morris is consistent with what we've done at the university over the years. A lot of nice features beyond the buildings. This is the inside of the C.C. and Hyatt Brown Center for Aerospace Technology. A lot of nice space, nice views, but again, facing Clyde Morris. And an evening view of what it looks like. This is the result, as you know, of a personal gift from the foundation, the Browns, and as well as a match from the state of Florida. So a total of $50 million is going into what you just saw. We're here to talk about sort of the growth. We've been on a very fast trajectory. It's part of what we do. It's part of the university. Where we want to be tomorrow, we have plans, and we always look out 10 years ahead, over 860,000 square feet of flex lease space. Some on the West Park, some on the East Park side of Clyde Morris. The Launch Your Ventures program we do is becoming a major attractor for startup businesses that are trying to grow and get a little money to get started, locating here in Daytona Beach. And then really a place for STEM inspiration. There will be actually a nice STEM sort of education type piece of this as we move forward. And finally, just really an incredible engine for economic growth. There we go. Did I skip one there? So moving forward, what we're here for is the donation of the parcel on the northwest corner of Bellevue Extension and Clyde Morris. It's basically that corner lot that sort of finishes out where our research park currently exists. It's currently being used by us actually as a crash laboratory for our students, and that's easily moved to another location. It'll allow us to continue building to the south with additional facilities as we move forward. We will return to provide the city commissioners with information about some potential growth that we're working on right now, actually, and we will hopefully be able to update you on that fairly soon. We have some really good opportunities that are out there, and we also understand that that particular piece of property has some environmental issues to it, and we will be pursuing funding to help clean that up from Volusia County. To get it to the standards that it needs to be. This is just a picture to show you what, overhead to show you what it looks like. You're looking basically on the top is Clyde Morris. The south would be to your right, the north would be to your left. The existing facilities that are there already, the Micaplex, the Wind Tunnel, and the Eagle Flight Research Center, those are fully used right now. Again, they were literally built over the last 5 years, fully used. And then the CC and Hyatt Brown facility that you see there will be facing Clyde Morris. That planning is underway right now with a nice little park between that and our current wind tunnel. So as you drive down Clyde Morris, it's going to be gorgeous. And then we have as part of the growth plan, we'll have some additional research hangars that are inside the fence, basically, to allow access to the airport. So what we're asking for is shown there in that yellow dashed line, that upper right corner. Basically, that would effectively be the southwest corner of that intersection. Northwest corner. It's basically that piece on the corner of Bellevue Extension and Clyde Morris. And again, right now, it's currently used as just a outdoor laboratory for our students. We'd like to be able to have that so we can build an additional building on that spot, is what the goal is, to continue the growth. Lastly, we will be back. I just want to give you advance notice in the future to make a request for that piece of property that is across the road, the one that's shown in the black trapezoid there. Basically, that would be, I guess, the southwest corner of the intersection. I got my north is all turned around here, but that's the southwest corner. So we'll be back later. We just see incredible opportunities. There's very few communities that have this kind of potential at an airport for the type of research that we do in aviation and aerospace, and it's all built around an industry that right now is just going crazy in terms of growth, and we're an active part of it, as you know. So with that, this is what a future facility might look like on that intersection. So what you're looking at here is the road going off to the right is Clyde Morris going north. The one to the left would be Bellevue Extension going to the west. So it's kind of that corner lot there. And that's that piece of property that right now is just a crash lab. If you drive by there, you think you see crashed airplanes. That's effectively what you see. But that's what the future looks like. So thank you for your time and attention. Rodney and I are here to answer any questions if you have any.
Does anyone have any questions? No.
I took a tour through there, and it's amazing what you guys are doing.
Thank you.
There's more good news that have to be promised. There's some exciting things that happen.
Thank you.
Well, since no one has any comments or questions, Commissioner Henry was a beneficiary of a program that was at Embry-Riddle years ago when they had the Upward Bound program. And it doesn't look anything like it did 40 years ago or 35 years ago. And so I think that what Hyatt Brown was talking about earlier, as it relates to like our median income here in Daytona Beach, and this project is another example of how we continue to elevate that. And so, you know, for us, it's a no-brainer, and we appreciate the partnership and what you bring to the community, the nation, and indeed the entire planet as a university. So we're supportive and appreciative of being partners.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor.
Okay. Is anyone else?
Yeah. Regarding that Upward Bound program, I just wanted to say that that was like the best Upward Bound program in the country. Because it was the only program where students were actually able to, you would get in the plane and you were able to fly the plane with the pilot. No other Upward Bound program. And that was the beginning, I think, of STEM and where STEM evolved from for students here in Daytona Beach. And I think you all are really leading the way for not just education of college students, because I know you have other projects that you do with younger students all of the time in your programs, your camps over the summer, in bringing STEM to the city. And to me, STEM is my big thing. In fact, I'm doing a big STEM thing that I'm going to be talking about tonight with the commission, so I'm glad to see you, and I hope that I'll be able to reach out to you and some of those brilliant students that you have that will bring STEM to some of the different parts of the city, not the inner city of Daytona, the entire city of Daytona Beach for the children here.
Thank you, Commissioner. And I will tell you that our students are always active in being involved in projects around the community. It's a big part of who they are, really. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. All right. Thank you, Dr. Butler.
And I'm going to give you my email. So if you want to email me a copy of those pictures, then I'll make sure that the commission gets them. And then anyone else in the audience can ask for them. You have?
Yeah, we have one now.
If you like.
Okay, yeah, just leave it. Yeah.
Thank you.
Okay.
Thank you very much for your time.
All right, thank you.
And Ms. Cruz, just, I know you've taken out all of our commissioners. I will work with your office for our newly elected Commissioner Paris to do a tour of the facilities.
Love to have you. Yeah, yeah. Thank you.
Thank you.
Great, thank you.
Okay. So, we're going to move on to item number 7. During this time, citizens have the opportunity to address any item on the consent agenda. And my first speaker is Frederick Brown, and on deck is John Nicholson.
You do some-
Good evening, Commissioner. Frederick Brown, 1508 Crescent Ridge, Daytona Beach. I want to compliment the city manager on his festive tie. Thank you for putting us all in the spirit. It's going to look good in the picture. There's 3 items on there, and I probably have to amend my application on there. I'll do them in the chronological order, the way they're printed. First thing I wanted to talk about, item 8E, which is one I needed to add. We're doing the continuation of the road resurfacing. Great project. I just want to remind the city and the Public Works Department that the roads, according to the city charter, are supposed to be done according to the Green Book, which says we're supposed to have 12-foot lanes with a 10-foot lane, 10-foot wide minimum. I can just tell you with personal experience on my own street, for whatever reason, the project field person decided not to do that, and it was horribly disappointing. We need to get consistent in the way our roads are done. I would like to see that the staff and the commission ensure that the Green Book is followed. Next item, I want to talk about the traffic signal. That's item 8I. Granted, it probably needs to be upgraded, but an intersection that's far worse is the one that was abandoned by the end of the project from Volusia County at Strickland Range Road and North Williamson Boulevard. If any of you travel in that area, and of course that's the main thoroughfare to get to the hospital, there's no traffic signal there whatsoever. They take a 4-lane road, they take it down to 2 lanes, and then they don't have any form of traffic signal whatsoever. There's already been some serious accidents there. That needs to be high priority on the city commission's list and the traffic engineer's list of things to get done immediately. The final thing I want to talk about is 8.0 or 8.0, and that's about the utilities department, the West Side Regional Water Facility influent pump. Obviously, with all the exorbitant amount of growth we got going on, it's highly needed. But I would think that somewhere in the $48 million project, we could put some solar in there. Again, I have emphasized, the electric bill, which is going to continue to go up to the benefit of FPL. This is an excellent opportunity for us to put that in there. All of the water treatment areas are an excellent location to add solar cells so that we can then produce power rather than paying for it, the citizens paying for it. Again, this is something that year after year will benefit the city and the citizens and reduce costs. It'll also benefit the planet and help reduce a lot of the green gas issues we're having. Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
My next speaker is John Nicholson.
John Nicholson, 413 North Grandview Avenue. A couple of things on the consent agenda. One, the police storage. We are growing. We are going to continue to grow. I understand the interest rates are high and people are expecting us to kind of stall, but it's not going to happen. We've been discovered. We're building. There are plenty of plans on the agenda for the planning board that they've okayed. So I'm wondering whether this storage facility is large enough for a city of 100,000, because that's where we're heading. And in the past, I've asked, whenever we do something, maximize it. Don't go to the minimum. Don't go to the smallest or the cheapest. If we're going to need it, there's no sense in paying this kind of money and then 5 years down the line have to increase it again. So whenever we do anything, make sure that we We go to the future, 10 years in the future, whatever it's going to be. Secondly, $80,000 for a bench. I understand Sunnyland Park needs to match ACAU or whatever it's called, all right? But both dugouts are $80,000 apiece. You can build a house for $80,000. So I'm wondering exactly what kind of a bench. They said it needs to be longer because there are more people. But for a bench, $80,000 is a lot for cement. All right, so I'm a bit concerned about that. The insurance update is 2007. If you all recall, several years ago, we updated the cost to rent city property, and we found out that we had not upgraded Bethune-Cookman College's rental of Memorial Stadium for like 30 years. We cannot continue not looking at our charges or interest and what we pay and what we accept. We need to look at it at a regular update so we don't wait 30 years or, in this case, 15 years. It should be a regular 5 or 10 years. Check whatever we lease, whatever we rent, to make sure that it's appropriate. Embry-Riddle, the land. I was in Miami at the airport. I worked at the airport when they were moving out. At the time, I never thought I'd be up in Daytona Beach. But they were a little tiny white building that expanded. And now the building up here is phenomenal. It is the best investment we could do. I talked to them earlier. I told them I was objecting to giving them the land. We're not giving them the land, basically. We're investing in what they're going to put there. We're investing in the continued expansion of that park. Thank you.
Okay. Those were my final speakers for the consent agenda.
Motion to accept the consent agenda.
All right, we have a motion. I would like to ask staff to come up and talk about the resolution for the traffic study at the corner of LPGA and Jimmy Ann. Can someone come up and talk about that?
Good evening, Andy Holmes, Assistant City Manager.
Good evening.
Good evening. That intersection has needed a traffic signal since 2019. That's the date of the study that established the warrant. And the warrant that it failed the worst is the delay warrant coming out of Jimmy Ann onto LPGA. We think that signal will enhance the driver's experience considerably in that area. We did submit that for prioritization by the TPO, and they have added that to the priority list, and that signal should be funded in the next couple of years. So this is the design portion that's before you tonight. Total cost is between $800,000 and $1 million, and the city would be responsible for about 10% of that.
You want to talk about that? No?
I think for that particular area, that is the biggest complaint that, for that particular area, that is the biggest complaint that I have received, even in this last election cycle, was that particular needing a traffic signal right there. People's quality of life is really affected by that particular area right there. You can wait there for a good 5 to 10 minutes before you can even get across the road, and I know you know that. We're in dire need of a traffic light there. So I'm definitely advocating for that, and I'm hoping that the sooner we can get the study is completed, as you say, the sooner we can get it as a priority, the sooner we can get a light put up there so that the quality of life will be better for those people coming from that side. And that side is growing. So Jimmy Ann is growing tremendously, and so the traffic is only getting worse because LPGA area is growing tremendously, and I think that we need to constantly be looking at the quality of life as we grow. We talk about smart growth, and a traffic light is the perfect thing to help us with smart growth in that particular section and corner right there.
Thank you, that's good to hear. We did notice the problem initially when we reconstructed Jimmy Ann about 4 years ago. We did that reconstruction and got the pavement surface in good shape finally. And we've been working ever since to get that light study done. It got done, it is warranted, and we are going to pursue it all the way through construction. Thank you.
Well, yeah, I concur, and I want to say thank you, but I also want to say that this is an example of what we have to do. This is not something that we can afford not to do. It's actually, it's kind of frightening to try to make the left-hand turn from Jimmy Ann to LPGA. And anyone who has driven that knows that that's sort of frightening. But I've said to folks that we're doing all that we can do, and we're going to continue to do that until we get it done. Earlier, John Nicholson talked about Strickland Range Road. Years ago, when I was commissioner of Zone 5, we had a few people, and you say this oftentimes, but it literally happens. People literally died turning off Strickland Range Road before we were able to get a traffic light there. And so I just don't want to see that happening here, but we know the possibility because it's such a dangerous location. But I do want folks to know that we're doing our part to make it happen, and I appreciate staff.
So clogging up the back regular streets in our residential streets because people are going down those residential roads
Not to go
to
that
go
way.
back down and come back around LPGA to get away from having to turn on that left-hand signal. So, we definitely don't want all that traffic rerouted down those residential streets.
Yeah.
If I might add, I was leaving my doctor's office yesterday, and it's also atrocious for those of us that are eastbound because people are taking a chance to come off of Jimmy Ann Drive to make that left, and it was scary for me because they were inching out instead of staying there until they actually could be clear to go. So it definitely needs to be done. So, Andy, I have to differ with you. It's been before that study. It's been ever since that street's been there that we've needed something there. So I'm so glad we're moving forward on that.
And even before the change to the road, I think she's referring to as well. Okay, but thank you.
Understood. Thank you.
Okay. All right, we have a motion, we have a second. If there are no further questions, all those in favor, let it be noted by saying aye. Aye. Those who are opposed, same sign. Motion carries 7-0.
Okay. All right, we have no public hearing items on the agenda tonight. We're going to move on to item number 10, which is administrative items, and we're going to take things a little bit out of order. We're going to take the item that was added, 10E, first. So 10E is a Growth Management and Planning Streamline Hotel NASCAR Founders Day Celebration event. This is a resolution. A resolution authorizing temporary outside activities associated with a festival in relation to Founders Day celebration hosted by NASCAR at the Streamline Hotel at 140 South Atlantic Avenue on December 14, 2022, in accordance with Section 5.4.C.11 of the City Land Development Code, establishing conditions and providing an effective date.
Second.
We have a motion from Commissioner Henry and a second from Commissioner Cantu. Do you have any questions, comments? No
I
speakers?
don't have any speakers for this item.
Okay, all those in favor, let it be noted by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, same sign. Motion carries 7-0.
Okay. I'm going to move back to item 10A. This is Development and Administrative Services Planning Division, expanding covered area on boat docks and slips, Land Development Code text amendment. This is an ordinance on first reading. An ordinance amending the Land Development Code, LDC, Article 5, Section 5.3.C.7, docking facility standards to modify docking facility development standards to allow roofs, repealing all ordinances or parts of ordinances in conflict herewith, and providing an effective date. Are there any questions or comments from the commission on this item?
No.
Okay. The public hearing and final action will be December 21st. Moving on to item 10B, it's a Development Administrative Services Planning Division, Single Family Residential 5, Minor Subdivision Development Standards, Land Development Code. This is an ordinance on first reading. An ordinance amending the Land Development Code, Article 3, Section 3.4.k, and Article 4, Section 4.2.b, to modify the dimensional standards for minor subdivisions in the SFR5, Single-Family Residential 5 zoning district, repealing all ordinances or parts of ordinances in conflict herewith, and providing an effective date. And are there any questions or comments from the City Commission on this item? Okay. The public hearing and final action will be December 21st. Moving on to item 10C, it's Technology and Information Systems Department, ordinance amending section 32-52 to include cybersecurity purchases. This is an ordinance on first reading. An ordinance amending section 30-52 to provide the city manager with certain purchasing authority for cybersecurity related goods and services, repealing all ordinances or parts of ordinances in conflict herewith, providing an effective date. And are there any questions or comments from the commission on this item? Okay, the public hearing and final action is set for December 21st. Moving on to item 10D, it's City Manager's Office, Downtown Development Authority Appointment Resolution. A resolution appointing one member to the Downtown Development Authority Board for a 3-year term ending June 30th, 2025, and providing an effective date. Ms. Betty Goodman to present.
Good evening. This agenda item is to appoint one member to the Downtown Development Authority. We have 2 qualifying applicants, Miguel Nien and Douglas Martin. Each commissioner and mayor will have the opportunity to voice their selection for this position. The city clerk, you want to call the roll?
Sure. Commissioner May?
Are we allowed to comment at the same time or just vote?
Well, you can comment.
Comment?
Comment first and then call the roll.
Okay. I know both individuals. I'm a downtown business person. I'm in the Downtown Development Authority City Commissioner post as well. And of the 2, I think that we're looking for, they're just different qualifications. I know what mine are. Mine are that I'm looking for somebody to help represent some of the more northern blocks in that area as well. We have good representation on the southern areas. So I'm looking to find a representative who is more toward the north to represent the middle blocks more and then the furthest northern blocks. Mr. Martin has been in the downtown area for a number of years, and he's been a very good business partner, and he has multiple other businesses he's involved in. And he's been just a very good neighborly citizen in the downtown area. So if I'm able to give my vote, are we just having conversation right now?
Well, we're having conversation and then you'll give your vote out.
Sure.
If anyone else has a comment.
Sure, thank you.
Okay. Does anyone else have a comment on either of the parties?
Are they here?
She didn't say, I don't think.
Which
Just,
one did you?
I was commenting on Mr. Martin. He's been, Doug Martin, his qualifications there. And also, just one more thing, we also, he is a CPA, and he's been around for a long time. He knows the area, has a vested interest in terms of knowing people, knowing businesses in the downtown core.
I just want to know if they were here by any chance to speak. Are they
No.
present? No? Okay, thank you.
Okay. All right, no further comment. We'll entertain a roll call vote.
Ms. Clerk?
Okay, Commissioner May? Okay, Commissioner Cantu?
Doug Martin?
Okay, Commissioner Henry? Okay, Commissioner Reed?
I don't know either candidate. Doug Martin will support you.
Commissioner Paris?
Doug Martin.
Commissioner Strickland?
Miguel Nin.
Okay, and Mayor Henry?
Yeah, I know both of them, and both I think would do great. But I will support Doug Martin with the remainder, with my colleagues. Doug Martin, motion carries 6-1.
And for the record, there was no public comment on that.
Okay, did we have a motion in a second?
Well,
Just did the
we
vote,
just
so
voted.
Okay, so we'll need a motion to.
Can I have a motion to accept the?
I move that we accept Doug Martin on the DDA.
We have a motion, we have a second. All those in favor, let it be noted by saying aye.
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 Those who are in opposition, same sign. Motion carries 6-1.
Thank you.
Thank you. And that was our final item on the agenda tonight.
All right,
I'm sorry, we missed Our discussion item, item number 11A, is Derek C. Fiacher, City Manager, discussion on the smoking lounges and conditional use permits.
Good evening, Honorable Mayor, Commissioners. We have been hearing about the, sorry. Thank you, Fred. We have been hearing about the, I said that, didn't I? I didn't, okay. Yeah, we have been discussing the smoking lounges and conditional use permits. I know many of you have received numerous emails and even probably some phone calls in reference to what our next direction will be. We are planning on bringing something back to the elected body at our next meeting. There is proper advertisement. This will call for 2 readings. If we were to move the smoking lounges, if you all were to move the smoking lounges to time frame of closing to the same time as our bars of 2 a.m. in the morning. There are a lot of discussions that will probably take place once we have the second reading. I know the chief is here also because one of the things that is part of the process is giving data on what takes place in the evenings. However, part of the discussion is I had our development services staff. I made contact with my previous city that I served as city manager, and we created what we call conditional use permits that deals with numerous items from what type of security you have to have, approval of your security details, the amount of police that have to serve, what your role will be after closing hours. If you don't do what you're required to do, your permit can be revoked for over a year. So there are numerous items that the development services staff, they have received as well to try to solve some of the issues. Also, we've, through research, Mr. Morris and I were reviewing stuff today about to make sure that the current business owners who have a special use permit from the city are actually abiding by what you all as elected officials and what our LDCs have and trying to determine that. And so what we want to do tonight, I want to have Mr. Morris just share some of the things, discussion points that we've been discussing to bring back to you all. We have received numerous comments, and we're going to evaluate if those comments from our citizens can work to bring back to you all, but also to have the chief just to talk about some of the issues that we have. So I'll let Mr. Morris come up, and this is a discussion amongst you all to give us some direction. It is not a public comment type of discussion.
Hi, Commissioner, Mayor, good evening. I'm Jim Morris, Deputy City Manager. As Mr. Fiacher said, we did look at some of the questions today, and I was talking to the P&L staff. The after-hours permits for everybody are renewed with business permits in October 1, and I checked downstairs to see about the number of those, whether there were inspections and so on, and they have been fairly routinely renewed as part of the business tax license. And so from the perspective of that, we're double checking to see how many have in fact been renewed. There aren't, all the businesses on Seabreeze don't have after-hours permits, but there are some. And I'm checking to see the status on that. And then Chief Young and I have not discussed the idea whether with code, there's inspection requirements for cameras and camera requirements preserving things for a period of 45 days, if I remember correctly. All the entries and exits of the premises and making sure those things are functional. The code presently provides that they'll have security at their building. There's nothing that deals with the extraterritorial premises of the sidewalk and so on that may be adjacent to the building. So we will have some discussion about whether or not within the bounds of the authority the city has, we can discuss both clearing not only the premises inside, but the adjacent premises that are public. And that's something that has to be discussed. There's a lot of discussion or interest legally on both sides. I know the city attorney can speak to that more, but that will be a question that we'll be looking at to see how that part of it works. In regard to security requirements, the Haines City requirements have a plan that is reviewed by their police chief as far as how the people are doing what they do. Daytona Beach's code will say that you must have at least one off-duty police officer or a security system. That's something that we probably need to look at a little further to see how that works. There is also provisions in our code that allow us to review and perhaps reject or deny an after-hours permit. But I think really from that standpoint, we need to strengthen our existing code to deal with some issues that probably aren't dealt with enough within the code, given the experiences that the city has had. Those are things that are going to be coming up as we look towards using more of probably more aggressive conditional use application, which has some teeth as to what you're supposed to do to keep your business running, how you manage your crowd after hours, and clean things out as that goes. And so you have a better opportunity in the event of a violation. I'll have to say probably after October 1 of this coming year in terms of imposing those conditions. But those are things that we see that can be done, and you have some means to put additional pressure on. In the plan that's used in Haines City, they actually have some extraterritorial premises cleanup. So it's not just their building. They have to keep the area in the vicinity of where they are to be clean. And I think from the perspective of the after-hours permit, there must be some discretion the commission has as to whether or not to grant those permits. And I know that has not been necessarily the case in terms of people have generally requested and been approved. And so I'm watching Mr. Jagger. I know there's other questions he's got to deal with there too from the standpoint of your discretion not to approve. But those are the things we're going to be looking at, talking about. He fairly has not had a chance to look at this. This is a discussion Mr. Fietcher and I had today, looking at the codes. I think those are the things primarily that we covered today, Mr. Manager. If there's other things, I can't think of them.
And I will say the items that the conditional use permits that we utilize in Haines City, the one nightclub that was problematic has not had any problems since the conditional use permits have been put in place, because if you lose your conditional use permit, you cannot have anything in your facility for a year. And they're not only a club, but they are a banquet facility also. So if you were to use your permit for 1 year and you can't operate, it can become problematic for your establishment. And so they really did take advantage of doing that. So I do want the chief to come up and talk about some of the issues that they deal with as well, and give some numbers. I asked for a couple of numbers about issues on the Seabreeze area in totality as well.
So good evening, Mr. Mayor, Mr. Manager, and Commissioners. The goal is to provide an accurate reflection of the nature of the hookah bars and how they impact our community. So specifically referring to the one that's creating the majority of the issues, which is 502 Seabreeze, also known as the Hookah Pub. I first must throw out this disclaimer that it's impossible to accurately check all calls for service to determine what can be traced back to the hookah pub and what cannot, because it represents a larger issue of allowing crowds to linger outside during the early morning hours. And as a result, many of these incidents occur off-site but are related to the crowds and activities that occur at this location. This sometimes results in incorrect reporting locations by both victims and witnesses. Individuals that are part of the crowds and activities, they hang out in a 1 to 2 block radius. Due to the 99-person capacity, many of the people party at their vehicles in the area and transport alcohol back and forth to drink at the club or sneak it into the club. That 1 to 2 block radius consists of the 500 and 600 block of North Wildolive, the 500 and 600 block of North Grandview, the Wells Fargo parking lot, the 7-Eleven, and the Waffle House, who no longer allows patrons inside after a certain time due to frequent altercations. The parking lot that runs behind the Oyster Pub and Grandview and Wild Olive is also an issue. Some of the incidents that are frequently reported by my supervisors consist of the surrounding parking lots being used for narcotics, drinking, fighting, engaging in sex acts, causing parking issues, playing loud music, littering, and overall creation of public health and safety. Safety issues. Many of these crowds are there because of the draw to the hookah pub during after hours when other bars have closed. Officers and supervisors have also reported being inside and not seeing any hookah or tobacco sales. This, combined with having a cover charge, indicates that the hookah term is just a front for an after-hours lounge. And then lastly, the social media content that is produced from this location gives residents a negative impression of Daytona Beach. So moving forward into the statistics that we are able to gather, calls for service directly at that location, 502 Seabreeze, for last year of 2021, approximately 70 plus calls for service. Some calls for service, again, are not able to be accurately reported because if the officers are already in the area during bar closing, there's a lot of instances where they'll respond to an incident, they'll break up a fight, and it's not necessarily logged in as a call for service. Some of the natures of the calls that we respond to are parking issues, city ordinance violations, crowds obstructing sidewalks in the streets, which is also a public safety concern, fights, disturbances, thefts, vandalisms, assaults and batteries, weapons complaints, shots fired, and most recently, the homicide that occurred on November the 27th. A few other examples are back in 2021, Andros Isles, we had a homicide where our investigation revealed that it stemmed from an argument that occurred earlier in the evening at the hookah pub. That homicide is currently still unsolved. Back in October of this year, there was a female who was struck multiple times in the head and face with a bottle inside of the club and needed stitches, but this incident wasn't reported to us until the following day. And then most recently, on November 27th of this year, there was a homicide outside of the hookah pub that it was caused by both the victim and the suspect who were engaged in an argument inside of the establishment earlier, which led to an altercation in the back parking lot off of Wild Olive where the victim was shot and subsequently passed away as a result of his injuries. So we didn't just focus on the hookah pub, we also took a look at the other hookah establishments throughout the city, and those consist of 631 North Grandview, the Hookah Buka, also known as Follow the Smoke. And from January 1st of 2021 to the present, there's been approximately 30 calls for service with 1 weapons complaint. The Zulu Hookah Lounge, located on West Speedway, since its opening in March of 2022, we've had 4 calls for service, none of which were criminally related. And then we also took a look at some other tobacco retail establishments that don't operate as an after-hours lounge, which are Tobacco Exotica at 749 West Speedway, Pumpernickel Pops at 714 East Speedway, and the cigar shops at Beach Street and A1A, none of which we have any issues that we have at the hookah pub. It's also important to note that the extended hours allotted to hookah establishments, that's not just a Daytona Beach problem. So we also looked at other counties and some of the issues that they've also experienced with hookah pubs. So for example, Osceola County, back in June of 2022, they passed an ordinance to close their hookah bars from 0200 to 8 a.m. Hillsborough County, they also passed an ordinance back in 2021 to redefine hookah bars and close them at 0300 hours, which is consistent with the bars in Osceola County. So several months back, the ordinance was passed to close bars at 0200 for a couple of reasons. The first was consistency. When we had this initial discussion, we wanted to make sure we were consistent with the other bars in the county, which all close at 0200. And then the second reason was there was a strong interest for public safety, law enforcement safety, and to protect the image of Daytona as not just being a party town. Therefore, there's a critical need for a consistent approach in managing and emptying the bar district at 0200. So adopting an ordinance that is congruent with our desire to see the corridor run safely and smoothly as possible is of the utmost importance. Changing the bar closing ordinance has helped with bar closing, but we are undercutting our approach and working against ourselves if we do not have an ordinance that shuts down the hookah establishments along with the surrounding bars and clubs. And with that, I will take any questions.
Well, I don't know if you all have any questions, but my question is, well, my children might be watching. What are we waiting for? And that's really what my question is. Listening to that makes you irate. No one wants to live adjacent to that, and that's just not what we want. And you know, I know you all might have questions, but it's not the city that I want to be. And my grandmother always said that, you know, and I don't begrudge any adult who chooses to have a smoke or cigar or imbibe and have a drink, but she always said that smoking and drinking went together. And she was the one who ran bars and juke joints, and she managed those facilities, but she said they kind of coordinated, they went together. So I think we're in a position where we need to treat them as such, because that's really how they are operating. And so I'll open it up. That's not a question, I know. It's a comment, but I hope it sends a loud and clear message as to where I'm coming from and where I would like to see us head. If you have questions.
I do. Do all the bars have special use permits?
As far as I know, they do.
I'm advised, Commissioner, that not all of them do, and we'll have data tomorrow for you, probably on all that for the entire commission. Tomorrow, I had the research started today. The answer is not all of them do, but I can't give you specifics beyond that until tomorrow, but we will have them. Sorry.
When he asks bars, what are you referring to? The hookah lounge?
Anybody that can,
Serve
any business that can have special use permit where they can stay open longer or whatever.
My answer
special
was in
use
relation to the
entails.
2-hour extension.
Okay.
We'll have that data for you tomorrow.
And one more question. Is there a difference between special use and conditional use? And if so, what is it?
I've probably used some bad words in description. I've read the code today, and we'll use the code terminology. I can't distinguish for you right this minute.
These are referred to as extended hours permits, the way it's currently drafted.
Okay. Thank you.
And I will admit, I gave legal staff some heartburn with my description. I was trying to tell you what we saw versus using, I apologize for the words.
Thank you.
Sorry.
The question that I was going to ask is likened to what the mayor said from Mr. Morris's presentation when he said you're going to review this and we'll implement it in October. And I was going to say,
No, that's not the case. We have the extended use permits are it's annually supposed to come before to be approved, and they've been just approved through P&L. And that's the thing. He was saying if some people have it already now, we may not be able to go back and change that. And that was what he was looking at. But in reference to the hookah lounges going to 2 a.m., that can be done.
Yes.
Over 2 meetings if you all decide to make that as a recommendation.
If I might, just a little bit, there's mixed subject matter, Commissioner Reed. There's liquor licenses that are there, and they've had extended hour permits. There's that question. And we were looking today, the manager and I, not only at that question, but the hookah discussion, which presently you're working on hours and terms for that now, so the same provisions don't apply there. It's a mixed subject in that regard.
okay,
To the extent it can all be made enforceable immediately, they will be.
very good. 'Cause
I
I
have a
have concerns
question.
about both.
I've never been in a hookah bar, so they sell alcohol too? No, just tobacco.
It makes two of us, Commissioner. They say no, but the information, I think, would say otherwise.
Okay, because I agree with the mayor. I mean, they should close the same as the rest of our nightclubs.
If they do sell alcohol, they'd be required to close as an alcoholic establishment at 2. So, so that if they don't sell alcohol and they sell tobacco products such as hookah products, then this ordinance would bring it in line with the alcohol
Doesn't really
establishment.
matter if, because he's saying firearms, you can't bring a firearm into establishment, a nightclub, or I believe a hookah bar either. So they should close the same exact time as our nightclubs. Okay, well, I'm in agreement.
Okay. You'll be allowed to speak at the end of the meeting at the public comment time. It's not a public discussion.
And again, this matter will come back for public comment at a later date.
Yeah. Okay. Yes, Commissioner Parrish?
Are we going to get a list of what these conditional use permits will be? Yes? Okay.
Definitely.
And just, I have one more question too about the people that are going to these hookah lounges. Are they tourists? Are they students? Do we know if they're residents? Like, who's going there? I'm just curious. No?
Probably all ages, but the child that was just killed was 22, wasn't he? By a 26-year-old?
I do think they're all ages. I know me and Commissioner Strickland actually met with owners of one of the locations that they are graduates, some of them of Embry-Riddle Aeronautical University. Some individuals are coming from Orlando or Jacksonville. So it's a culture thing that was discussed from some cultures. So it's a mix of individuals. And I know you'll probably get emails over the next 2 weeks of what type of individual. Some people have memberships, some people have a dress code, some people don't have a dress code. So it really is, it's going to be the decision based on, but the meeting that Commissioner Strickland and I had, were the owners of them they came in and asked for a meeting, and I know them. So they were raising their hand back there. So I think you'll get the information over the next 2 weeks, and then we'll bring something back to you all. But they'll be able to communicate what type of clients they have and others.
I have a question for Chief, unless you have another one, Commissioner Paris. Only because you named several hookah bars, which I'm not familiar with any of them, but I do know that there was one on Mason that we were having trouble with. Mason and, that's not Mason, I'm sorry. It's 8th Street in Derbyshire, in that old shopping center.
Derbyshire Plaza.
Yeah. Is it still there?
I believe that one was shut down a while back.
Okay, so that's not on this list. Okay, thank you.
Okay.
So we will bring something back to you all based on your comments and give you all recommendations to move forward. But we will be checking to see if they are already abiding by your extended hour permits that are already on the books. And those individuals that are not, we may not have to bring their issues back to you all. We'll deal with them appropriately.
And CM, I'd like an address for all the ones that the chief named tonight.
Oh, yeah.
I'd like to just kind of see what it looks like, where they're located.
Yeah.
You can drive me around and show me.
Okay.
I've always had a curiosity about this. Are all the bars on Seabreeze serving food at all? Are there restaurants that are bars? Are there restaurants that start off as restaurants and now are just nightclubs? Like, what is going on with that? And do we enforce it?
I don't know.
Since we're doing an overhaul, taking a look at everything.
Again, Jim Morris. Commissioner, we'll have code give you a response on that. I don't know the answer to the question. It will have the question looked at by code and police and have an answer for you. Yes, ma'am.
I will tell you, Commissioner May, that has been a discussion several times. Are they serving food? Are they a restaurant? Are they getting food from somewhere else and pretending to be a restaurant? So I would be interested in that as well.
This is a really good opportunity to kind of take a look at
all of
some of our policies and just go for it.
So that concludes our report. And as I stated, the appropriate advertisement will be provided. We want to make sure that the proprietors of these establishments have, and it will have to be 2 readings. It's not 1 reading. It will be a 2-reading process. And Bob, is there anything else beyond that?
No, I haven't seen the changes that Mr. Morris referred to, and I would add if there are any substantial changes to what has gone to Planning Board, we may have to go back to Planning Board, which will cause a slight delay.
All right, we have had a discussion regarding this at this time. We will hear from commissioners. We'll start with Commissioner May.
Good evening, everybody. So this evening, and we were all there, we were over at the lighting of the Esplanade. It was really well done. It was very nice to see an idea and a dream come to fruition in the past 4 years. I was quite happy with that. I'm sure the mayor will address that further. I have a couple of specific questions. First, a comment. I went to the Halifax Sailing Association. They called for a meeting just to take a look at what they offered. I encourage all of you to go. I think it's a great organization. They're doing some events with different schools in the area and bringing young people into some water activities and giving classes. And I think they'll be calling on us just to tour what they do. Fantastic group, good organization. They're right on the river. And what I noticed was that we have some property adjacent to their facility, and it could use a little bit of repair because of the storm. We also have some sunken vessels that are directly on the docks by the Halifax Association. We have children there who are taking lessons there, et cetera. So we need to take a look at that area again for sunken vessels. I would very much like to have an update on the grant process. Like, where are we right now with regard to how many grants have we issued? What has the process been like? And any changes that we're making? If somebody would like to speak with that, that would be great.
Well, it's actually not only being provided to you all, but it is the first page of the city manager's. It is the first page of the city manager's update that provides that we've had 3 public meetings, 185 applicants have been received from residents and business owners. And so the final documentation is supposed to be submitted tomorrow, but we've had a on and on process of people coming in. But the first page deals with all of the use for the ARCA funds for assistance.
Could you clarify the last piece, the last day of documentation?
Submitting documents that were required for you to get the funding. Is that correct, Ken?
Okay. Then have we made any changes with the process at all for businesses? Are we still requiring the FEMA number? Because then I'm going to say many businesses have not been able to go through that process, and we've had this conversation.
If they can demonstrate that they've tried to contact FEMA, we will work with them. But they have to be able to demonstrate that.
Okay, so I'll say publicly, that's been a bit of a problem. That's been an ongoing problem for the small business community in trying to get some of the documents together, not for lack of trying, but the process was a little bit off. And then we tried to work with the process a bit, but it did push some business people away from trying to apply for it because it just wasn't efficient at that particular time. So knowing that tomorrow is the last day, is there any way they can extend it at all, or is tomorrow the hard deadline?
Tomorrow is the hard deadline.
And they're aware of it?
Yes, this same information has been communicated to
Okay.
anyone that has contacted us or attended one of our sessions.
Okay. Also, where are we on the short-term rental situation? Do we have any progress, any movement, any ideas? Where are we with that, Mr.
I
Jagger?
had planned to actually report tonight, when it came to my turn to speak, on the outcome of the request that we had made to the Attorney General for an opinion, so I'll be glad to do that.
Okay. And that is it for me. Thank you so much.
Good night.
Good afternoon. The Santa Run is coming, 6 p.m. December 14th. And I am glad to see all of the added streets, much bigger Santa Run, and I really like it. So we're going to be joining with Zone 6 for the Santa Run. And we're going to come back at the end of the Santa Run, meet at the Charles Cherry Cultural Center. And children will be able to get hot chocolate, candy bags, cookies, and they'll be able to take pictures with Santa. And so that is on the 14th at 6 p.m. Also, the Mainland High School Buccaneers, our school, is headed to the state championship. They have not been to the state championship in 19 years. So this is a really big deal for our home school. In fact, the last time they were at the state championship for football, the coach was on the team. So he was on the team for the state championship. This year, he's going back for the state championship as the coach. And so we're trying to bring that home for the city of Daytona Beach. These are fine young men. They have done an exceptional job this season. They are excelling in the classroom. They have lots of male mentors around them to make sure that they're doing what they need to do. They're getting these guys off to college. And with that being said, I would like to know if anyone would be willing to sponsor one Mainland football player. It's not a lot to sponsor them. The sponsorship would be just a bag, a gift bag, and you can put in the gift bag, you can put anything you want, snacks, treats. They're going to be traveling. They're going to be staying overnight. So maybe a pillow, a travel pillow and blanket, maybe a small gift card. And we are going to be going out to Mainland High School, and we're going to decorate. The principal has asked us to come and decorate the lawn. And so we're going to have yard signs for each player, and we don't want any player left out. And each player will have a yard sign that says good luck to them from whoever their respective sponsor is. So this is a really big deal. I really would appreciate some support. Because if this was Seabreeze, their parents would be going all out and their community would be going all out. So I just want them to know that Daytona Beach can go all out for their boys as well and our children. So if you're interested in sponsoring a child, please let me know. I know.
You said that it was Daytona.
Well,
So
they're,
how many teams- how many
they're,
kids on
they
the team?
have their parents are a little more active,
I
let's
got
just
that
say
part,
that.
but you know it's in Daytona.
I know it's in Daytona. She's just a sea breeze sand crab. They have 60 boys. They have 60 young men that are going to be going to stay on. They're going to be staying overnight. Also, if anyone would be willing to do a video just telling the young men congratulations and telling them that they would are proud of them for going to state, we would like to put a video together from the city, from all of the residents in the city, not the actual city of Daytona Beach, which it could be city of Daytona Beach. It doesn't really matter. Sheriff Chitwood put out a video today. I don't know if you all saw it, and it is going viral, which was my video. So I texted him yesterday and said, we need a video. Could you please send me the video, but don't post it? He posted the video. And then he texted me, oh, the video is going viral. So he has made a bet with the Polk County Sheriff. So if Mainland wins, he will drive to Polk County and celebrate with their team and take pizzas and wings. If Mainland wins, Polk County's sheriff is going to come to Mainland with him, and they're going to buy pizza and wings for the players. So I'm just glad to see that the community is rallying around these fellas. So if I could get my commissioners to get a video, to do a short video that just says, this is Commissioner Reed. Congratulations, Mainland, bring home the championship. We would really appreciate it.
And if you would not send that video to Commissioner Henry, but send it to either me or Letitia, that will be most appropriate.
Okay.
I don't want anyone to even use that as an excuse. So if you make a video, please send it to me or Letitia, and we'll make sure she gets it.
That works as well.
We must be doing this all tomorrow. 'cause
You can, at the end of this meeting, you all can do one as a group.
Until next Thursday.
Well, the game is a Friday?
It's next
Oh, man,
Thursday.
you had me thinking Friday. Okay, very good, we got time.
Well, we would like to get the video put together.
Oh,
Maybe.
no, I meant, I didn't know if we had to rush and do all
No, we don't have to rush
So we
into
don't
it.
have to wait till the last minute.
We don't have to.
How do you get folks to volunteer to, I mean, in terms of those 60 boys, we want to make sure all 60 of them, and maybe you should have a list of what they should have.
We do. We have a list of names. So the moms have a list of the names, and they will pair you with a particular child, and you will know exactly who your child is, because that was the biggest thing with the coach. He didn't want any child to drive on the campus and not have a sign or not get a gift bag.
Well, we should have the same thing in the gift bag. No, y'all wanted each individual?
People can
Some
put
of-
what they
okay.
want in their gift bag.
All right, put what they want in their gift bag.
People can put what they want in their
Okay.
gift bag, but
All right.
just,
Is the moms,
the moms aren't here,
they're
no.
not here?
No.
Okay. All right, so how do we sign up to get a kid? Just call the moms, well, you gotta know how to sign up.
Yes,
And then it's not just us, we wanna, folks are watching this, and
right.
this, this is my remarks tonight too, so I'll.
Yes.
well, just a second. Go ahead.
You can reach out to Crystal Frazier. Sorry, if you would like to, I'm pulling up her number. She is head of the Mom Block. And her info is 386-589-8888. 8728, and she will hook you up with a student to young man to sponsor.
Okay, thank you.
Bubba is already taken. And thank you all, and let's cheer our guys on to state for success.
All right.
And one last thing is, for Shop with a Cop, there is money placed in honor of Officer Rayner for Shop with a Cop to support 10 families. So if you have a family that you would like to, if you know of a family that's in need and that needs to shop with a cop, please reach out to me, or you can reach out to Chief or Tansy, his wife Tansy Young, for that information.
Okay.
Thank you.
Commissioner Reed?
Yes, Mr. Mayor. Oh, I'm fine. I was just looking at you. I'm looking at the manager's newsletter, and I see here, and I'm honored to participate in Santa's Run with Commissioner Henry, particularly since our children have gone through so much with these storms and what have you. But what I neglect to see is where you're going to run on Zone 6, because this is all Zone 5 right here. Chief, you working on it? You saw that too, didn't you? I said, this is none of my streets right here.
You listening?
All right. I just.
Some of them your streets, a lot of them. Yeah, George Ingram, Midtown.
But no, we
Nova
coming over
Road,
here.
George Ingram,
We
Hampton,
going down South
Amanda,
Street.
Colfax,
We going down North Street.
White Street, part of it is yours.
That's parts. There ain't no residents though on that part.
Yes, it is. Okay, but I understand. Okay.
Where the children's is.
Okay.
The children's.
Okay. Midtown is gonna have Santa there.
Right, Santa and Cocoa, sponsored by the Tortugas and Cookies. Hot chocolate and Santa pictures will be taken after the Santa Run for all children in the community to come out and take a picture with Santa Claus.
All right.
I just want to share that on this past weekend, I had the privilege of representing you all at the Florida League of Cities Legislative Conference. I also facilitated a workshop in regards to the phenomenal growth with homes and making it difficult to have that dream because of the cost, the soaring cost, and was able to coordinate with some of my colleagues that we see annually when we go. It's nice to have had a midterm session. It was in Kissimmee. Also want to remind my colleagues that this Thursday evening at the Midtown Center, we're going to dress it up and dress up right, Mr. Attorney. I hope you're going to be there. But this is the end of my presidency as the Volusia League of Cities president, and it's always housed by that president. So it's in our house. Y'all need to show up. If you've never been to a Volusia League of Cities dinner, which I can look around this room and point at everybody because you haven't. You just got here. I'm not talking about you. I'm talking about colleagues now. But y'all need to show up because we're the hosts. You've been to one, and you've been in office 2 years. So anywho, I would love to see you all there.
I'm not gonna get anybody to come.
This is our night, so we need to be there, and we have a table just for you. Okay? And that's at 6 p.m. at Midtown. Refreshments Thursday, tomorrow. See that? We've been announcing this for 2 months. Anywho.
You should let me help you.
On
You gonna run everybody?
on December 17th, we will be honoring Charles and Julia Cherry by renaming the Midtown Cultural Center in honor of them. 9 a.m. Please show up. And let's recognize these two phenomenal citizens who've contributed so much to our city. It's an honor to recognize them. And on that evening, on that afternoon, the ladies of the Daytona Beach Alumni Chapter of Delta Sigma Theta Sorority Incorporated will be hosting their annual male fashion show, which will feature our city manager, our sheriff, and quite a few other brothers around town. Got 20 models that will be helping us raise scholarship funds for the children of our community, as we annually do. And if you're interested in attending and would like to purchase a ticket, I will sell you one. It will be at the Museum of Arts and Sciences. Refreshments and heavy hors d'oeuvres begin at 1:15, and the show starts at 2, so it's in the afternoon. And you can leave there and still go to the concert at the Esplanade that evening. Okay? I believe that concludes my comments.
Yes, ma'am. Commissioner Paris, welcome, and to your first comment.
Thank you, Mayor.
Mm-hmm.
It's already been a month since Election Day, which is kind of crazy. What I do want to say is remembrance of Pearl Harbor Day. It's been 81 years since Pearl Harbor, so I want to thank all our veterans. We know our freedom isn't free, and we thank you for fighting for our freedom to all the veterans out there, too. I guess the important things is this Bells and Shells. We're going to have a parade, right, on Saturday, which I think is really nice. And we did go to the Esplanade before this. That's why we were a little late. And it was really beautiful. And with all the investment that was made in there, which is truly an investment to the community, I think we should, spread the word and try to support it as much as possible. Then I also wanted to thank the city manager, city attorney, really everybody, city staff. Everybody has been just very helpful, getting me up to speed. I still have a lot of emails to return and phone calls to return, so you know who you are out there. I will get back to you, I promise. And I guess really that's it for now. I don't want to keep it too long because I see we have people in the audience I want to speak to. So thank you for having me, everybody.
Thank you. Commissioner Strickland?
Thank you, Mayor. I'd like to thank Dave Waller for his hard work in getting the cleanup going and keeping the progress moving with that. I know he's doing a good job because my phone calls and text messages are way down. So maybe we're getting to the end of that. I also would like to ask or talk about it hypothetically. That could we get info to the public more easily and make it more accessible on upcoming projects such as Silver Beach, 2100 North Atlantic. A lot of people, that one there has gotten a lot of publicity, so people know that what's going on with it. The one at Silver Beach, people are kind of, oh, when did that happen, sort of thing. And that's true. We have people that here in this building that meet with developers when they come to town. They talk to them, our staff, our department heads and stuff, and then it moves on through the process, and most of our residents have no idea what's going on until it pops up on our agenda for second reading, and then they go, what in the world? How did this happen? I didn't know anything about it. And I know that a lot of things concerning development, where our hands are tied because of state statutes and property rights and that sort of thing. However, I think that it would be beneficial to the residents if they were informed a little sooner, and would probably make the process a little easier, and they would feel a little more included in their local government if we could find a way to get that out there. And I'm sure I'm about to get some reprimand here from the man with the spicy tie.
Never. Really, never reprimand. But I think that if individuals knew, this is the most powerful piece of paper here in regards to staying up to date. If you sign up for our alerts, you'll get every email. And so I know that you may say some people don't have internet or emails or stuff, but having us to go out and make hundreds and hundreds of flyers and take to these locations will be. But if a person has technology, the new app is a powerful tool that we've created. The alerts, and so those are things. If you have any insight of what you want us to do beyond the amount of communications we send out, just share it with me and the team.
Our younger citizens and I would say most anybody under 50, knows how to use a smartphone, a laptop, a computer. The older ones, a lot of them are, I hate to say it out loud, but are computer illiterate. They don't know how to deal with anything phone-wise other than dialing a number. I will say this, I think our new app is great, and I tell people about it. I had somebody download it while I was on the phone with them this morning. But anyway, just a little food for thought. I'm not demanding anything. I'm not trying to stir the pot, but I do think that we have residents that would like to be feel a little more included as things go through the process rather than second reading and they go, where in the heck did this come from? I don't know if it's possible to do that, if we can do that, if there's a desire to do that. But anyway, that's it for me. And are we meeting in 2 weeks?
Mm-hmm. Y'all will be meeting in 2 weeks.
Where are you going to be?
21st.
Vacation.
Thank you, Mayor.
Y'all approved it already.
I don't recall that, but you can go on vacation. You got good staff. So I don't mind if you go on vacation, as long as you have good staff, and you have good staff. I understand your sentiment, but for me, it's very important that we be as real as possible. I don't ever want to tell people things that I can just promise. The manager has expressed an accurate assessment that the best way to know things is to get the app. But we know folks are not going to get the app all the time. But another good way to know things is to be involved in a neighborhood watch group. And we try to support those. But those people who are involved in those, they know because they tend to be connected to people who are connected. And as soon as they see things, they tell folks. And I think a better way to create community, which is what we all want, is for us as a city and as a staff to support the community neighborhood watch groups that we have, continue visiting, sharing, try to expand them. I'm working on a vision that I have of ARCA funds to go around to many, many communities and host dinners where we come together and we fellowship, and then we try to connect folks back to neighborhood groups. Because for me, one of the biggest things that we've been hampered by with COVID was this capacity to fellowship. So I think that's one of the best ways that we can be supportive of getting the information out, is getting people connected to the neighborhood watch groups that we have. Commissioner Henry talked about the state championship game. And in the history of Volusia County, we have won the grand total of 1 state championship in football. 1. We have been in the finals 1 time. Once. No other, well, wait, I take that back, twice. DeLand went to the finals about 10 years ago, and they didn't win, but they went to the finals. I cannot reiterate how big of a deal it is and how much we as a community should be rallying behind the team to help them to be successful, and rallying behind the school. As the person who I had the great honor of serving as the speaker the night before the championship game in 2003. So I spoke to the team in the meeting night before. And that was a great honor, and one that I take great pride in. as a Buccaneer. I was not an elected official, but I bleed blue and gold. Now, that's just a fact. 1987, I was, of all the honors I received, most Buck Pride is the one that I take the most pride in even until this day. And so I can just go through the list of things. So the community is getting behind this team. Hyde and C.C. Brown donated $10,000 to help make sure that the cheerleaders, the band, and the football team would all be able to ride and have a good experience in their ride. And then there's others that are, that I was at a meeting, I think it was yesterday, with the moms group and other groups and the principal, as well as the athletic director, and I'm amazed at the amount of support that they're receiving. But one of the things that has been lacking is, well, you have at Mainland probably 1,800 students, and so what you want is the students to be able to go to the game. And I would like to invite any of you who might have any money that you might have in, what's that, Bike Week money, to see if you might want to sponsor one bus. A bus is $3,000. And mind you, they've had to fund buses for the team, but a bus is $3,000 and they'll get 50 kids on and probably 4 chaperones. So they want to take 3 buses. That would be 150 kids. All of the kids who would ride on a bus would have a GPA, they have to meet the principal standard, which is a B GPA, and I'm not sure what other standards he had. Might have been no referrals. I thought that was a great set of standards. And I don't want the kids to have to pay because they've met a standard. So if any of you want to donate any of your Bike Week funds, we'll be happy to oblige. And I'm raising money. I've raised $5,000 from Daytona Toyota towards this aim, trying to get to at least 10,000. So does anyone else have any money they would like to donate?
Mr. Manager, how many buses is the other team taking? Because he knows.
How many? Tell me now.
The mighty powerful Lake Wales, Polk County will have 8 buses.
8 buses of students?
The superintendent canceled school for next Friday.
That's what they do. I'm trying to explain to folks. It's Lake County is big. Putnam, Polk is big, but I'm trying to explain to folks. All across the state, that's just what they do. That's what they do. If you know, that's what they do. So I'm trying to get 3 buses, but I would like at least 5. But it takes money. So there's some, maybe y'all, you can use ARCA funds if you have any. Okay. Yes, ma'am.
Yes, I'm going to go.
What's the amount?
Anybody else going to donate anything?
Oh, I don't know. What's the amount? You can donate $1,000 out of your Bike Week fund. Okay.
$1,000 from ARPA, but I also would like to do 500 from Bike Week funds for all the snacks and Gatorade and food that it's gonna be for all the 3 buses plus the band, cheerleaders, and to help with the snacks.
Okay.
But have that 500 to come out of
Bike Week. Okay, but how do you Okay, that's not my
They sent the
concern.
list over, so I just need city staff to just go pick it up.
Okay,
They sent the list of what they need for.
okay.
We still need to sponsor a child?
Yes, this is for, now this is, you're sponsoring.
This is different. You sponsor a child is a different thing.
You're sponsoring a football player. This is for, they're gonna take 3 bus loads of kids. So we wanna make sure the bus loads of kids have snacks, because they're gonna be gone the whole day. And they're gonna take the cheerleading team and they're gonna take the entire band. So they're gonna need snacks, and I think the mayor's raising for them to be fed. But
Okay. Who else? Doesn't matter where it comes from, y'all. I don't care. I'm just raising money.
I'll donate $250.
Okay.
How,
She got the money for it. He'll find it.
did you say we can use COVID money?
Yes, you can.
ARPA?
ARPA funds, yes. Absolutely. $5,000.
A bus.
Watch.
One bus. 3
One
grand.
bus,
Out of
3,000.
ARPA money.
There we go. That's what I'm talking about right there, brother. Mm? That's what I'm talking about, Ken Strickland. Ken Strickland knows how to do it. Okay.
What you
3,000
gonna do,
from Ken
Commissioner Henry? This your school.
1,000
What you
from
gonna
Commissioner
do,
Henry.
Commissioner Henry?
My wife's a buck. I can't go home if she heard this, if I don't do something.
That's what I'm talking about. All right. What else?
Commissioner Henry says she can't let Commissioner Strickland outdo her. She wants to say a little bit more.
Okay.
All right, then let me say my part.
Mm-hmm.
I am not a Mainland Buccaneer, but I am a native Daytonian. And Mainland is in Daytona. Go Bucks. Give me a bus.
All right. That's what
I
I'm
want
talking
that bus to say sponsored by Commissioner Reed.
That's right.
I
Sponsored
want
by
to go.
Commissioner Reed.
I want to go.
I'm
I can
going.
wear blue and gold.
I'm already going.
Look,
Thursday
I'm
night
going to go yell
I'll
for
be
them
there.
babies. They represent
Bye.
our city. The mayor has raised $5,000, so
I
he got a
whole bunch
bus
of problems going on.
and a piece.
Yeah.
Come on, come on. What you gonna do? Tag is
Okay.
on you. She got a bus. I got another bus
One
over here.
bus, one bus, one bus. I
Good,
my
we got
3
Cantu
buses.
coming. Hold on. You know I can raise some money. Commissioner Cantu, we need you to you got some money, and you can use your ARPA funds.
She don't have
You have no money.
She's giving it away. She,
We can advance some ARPA funds.
Probably have about 5 in my,
500 in your Okay, we'll take that 500 for snacks. Can we use that for snacks? That 500. Okay, there you go. Told you I raised some money.
all right, 3,000, 3,000. I got my 3 buses.
mine was 5.
500.
500 for snacks. That's $750 on snacks.
I'll go ahead and do some of the snacks. I'll do it at like 300, and all of my ARCA funds have been committed already, so I'm down to my Bike Week funds.
I do understand.
And that's
So how much is she giving from her bike week?
300.
Okay.
So we got 800 from Bike Week and 1,300 total for snacks.
Okay, so what I have from Commissioner Henry, 3,000 from ARPA for a bus and 500 from Bike Week for snacks. I have 250 from Commissioner Paris. I have 3,000 from ARPA, Commissioner Strickland, 3,000 ARPA for Commissioner Reed, 500 from ARPA for Commissioner Cantu for snacks, and 300 from Commissioner May from Bike Week for snacks.
Are we going to turn that into a motion, a public
No,
comment?
not yet. We're not done.
Okay.
Long way from done. I don't care what y'all think. This is a big deal. These kids, these same kids could not compete in football for a whole year or sports in this town. It was a big deal. They were heartbroken. Many of them in our Pop Warner programs all the way across the city couldn't play anything. And I'm telling you, as a person who wouldn't be where he is if it wasn't for sports in this community. If it was not for sports in this community and coaches and people who fed into me and deposited into me, and I know what it is for the culture of the school. it changes what you can do and what you can get out of the kids. It is a big deal of what the principal is able to drive and push the kids to get them to the goals that we want. You're talking about now from the mayor's, well, that's another issue. Okay, that's another issue in terms of trying to help get the kids to graduate. Okay, I would
This is the ultimate COVID comeback story.
This is the ultimate COVID comeback story.
It is.
It really is. This is how you bounce back from COVID.
This
now,
is how you
what
do
I would
it.
like is, okay, I've got the 3 buses sponsored,
Snacks.
the snacks. If the principal has enough for students who meet his criteria, because you're taking B students on a trip, students who have earned something. Okay, B and above. Okay, so what I would like is if he can, well, first of all, allow the city manager beyond these 9,000 up to 10,000 from my COVID sponsorship. And I will partner with the principal to see how he needs to use that money to support this trip or what goes on after this trip.
What do you do with the 5 that you've already?
Oh, that's a part of that. That's already, that we have to pay for the tickets for each child, so they don't have to pay for their ticket. And so what we want is this, certainly if you all want to ride on your bus, let's load up. You just be a chaperone, I'll load up if you want to ride. I'll get another bus
She
too.
didn't say no chaperone.
That's a chaperone, you're on the bus. You can't ride on the bus with them making noise and you're not on there.
She better get on the spirit
Bring your
bus.
guests, yeah. Who else wants to ride? Anybody else? I think it's a big deal to go. I'll be down there Thursday night, ready to roll. You know. Okay. All right. So you got. So I'd like that gives us a total of 3 buses plus 10,000. It may not be that much because we may not need that much, but I'll figure out with them what we need. Okay. All right. Any other questions or concerns regarding this?
To be clear, was the 10,000 from ARPA or was there another source? It's all-
The mayor's.
Understood.
Okay. And I'm trying to think, do I need it? Because you guys got to remember now, after they win, it takes 60, they have to get a ring. I have 3 of them. That doesn't happen easily. 3 state championship rings. Put that in your pipe and smoke it, man. Okay, yeah. 3 earned state championship rings, not something purchased on eBay. Okay.
They weren't participation rings?
I can talk trash with the best of them, come to sport.
They weren't participation rings.
Coaching rings. 2 Final Four rings. Put that in your bag and smoke it.
Hey, that's the worst thing that ever
Bulldog.
happened to sports, is to put participation trophies and coins. I don't play that.
All right. Okay, so we've got it. Thank you very much. Do we need a motion? Yes. All right, we'll take public comment. Public comment? Go for it. This is time well spent. We don't complain about your time. This is time well spent, like it or not.
And it has
Yes,
to be on this subject.
on this subject.
Yeah. Okay.
Hey, listen, Mr. Mayor.
Get up, Polk County.
My name is.
Get up.
My name is Steve Miller, 383 Walnut Street, Daytona Beach, Florida. Listen, you know what? It's easier to raise, to build a child than to try to build a grown man. And Derek, as you know, you come from Imperial Polk County, and so did I. And you was right about the people in Polk County. We love our children. And one of the things I think about Daytona Beach is that we don't love our children. And the reason I say that is that when I look at our programs, we lease out Bethune-Point more than we utilize it with our children, which is a disgrace. I learned, and I'm who I am now because it was sports, Mayor, just like you. we have a whole lot of things in common, but other than your father, it's in your DNA, so you have to love kids, both of you all, because he had a baseball team, he had softball teams, and this is a big deal, and I'm really, really proud of it. And Mayor, you know, I'm a small businessman in Midtown, you know, this is 32114. It is the 20th poorest zip code in Volusia County, in Daytona, in the state of Florida. And we have approximately one person who OD on drugs every day. And I'd like to contribute $1,000 from my small business to help these kids as well. And Mr. Mayor, I'm quite sure that we have a lot of citizens in our community who are doing that. And I just want to say one other thing before I leave. I haven't been to the commission since the election, and I just want to congratulate Zone 1 that I really appreciate it, and Commissioner May. And I've been hearing these rumors, and folks been calling me and say, Steve, you need to get ready to run for Zone 3 again, because Commissioner May is planning on running for mayor. And I stated, man, that's amazing. I still have some shirts, Mayor. And I just want to let you know that I want to be one of the captains of the Team Henry for mayor. And I just love that you gave money to children, because that person who didn't give any money, a little bit of money, she don't love children, but she don't have any children. So, Mr. Mayor, I just want you to know,
Steve.
I thank you for what you're doing for our children, and I'm with you.
Okay. That's not appropriate. That's not appropriate. Well, I can't stop him from talking. Yeah, that's rude.
Nope.
That's over the top.
So I have a question and suggestion.
Name, please.
Is this Malcolm Williams, 1006 Lib Avenue. And we are excited. I am a Miramar Patriot, and we beat D-Land in the state championship. So I'm excited about Mainland going down there to Fort Lauderdale with this win. My question and suggestion is this. Do we know if the football team as a whole is in the Christmas parade? And if they are not, if we can have them in the Christmas parade as a sign of like kind of sending them out as a city? Thank you.
That's a good idea, and I did think about that. They will be practicing on Saturday all day, probably until about 6:30, 7 o'clock Saturday. So, but I will ask Coach Rowland.
Oh, no, we're not up yet.
This is just about this.
Wait,
This is-
this is
we're
about
only
this item.
speaking on
Are you
this
all
item.
speaking on this item?
No, okay.
Oh, okay.
Okay.
Just on this item? Okay. All right.
It's
That's
all
okay.
right.
No
It's
problem.
okay.
No problem. All right.
Yeah, but that is a great idea. But I will double check with Coach and see what time they'll be out of practice, because they do need to be in the parade
All right.
for the city to send them off.
Okay.
Huh?
Parade
Saturday.
Saturday. Yeah. Yes, sir. You on this item?
This is
Yes,
on the
sir.
mainland item.
Come on, Mr. Brown, give us some money.
Yeah, give us some money.
Malcolm's a little tall.
Johnson.
Frederick Brown, 1508 Crescent Ridge. I have had the honor and the privilege of being a chaperone on a bus to the state championship football. We had to go all the way down to Miami, Pro Players Stadium. It was a very rewarding experience, got to know the students really well. My only question here is, when I did it, I washed a lot of cars, sold a lot of apples, sold a lot of Christmas lanterns. The parents raised the money. We supported our school. We raised the money. I question, when we have a city and a lot of citizens here that are still suffering from the effects of the hurricane, and I know it's something to be very proud of, and congratulations for Mainland doing that, and I appreciate that. But there's a lot of things we need to be doing here on the business time here at this meeting. So that's my only objection to it. For those of you who do support the team, raise money, it's a rewarding experience. My daughter also won 2 state championships in lacrosse, and so I traveled around with her as well. So I know what it's like to be with the kids. I work with the band, but again, this is one of the issues that we need to elevate. And we talked about elevating Daytona Beach. It's not just getting higher income jobs here, it's getting parental involvement at the schools. That's what takes your schools, because our school is an A school.
That's what takes your schools from Ds and Cs up to A, is parental involvement. And if anything we should learn from this is let's try and get the parents from the schools more involved. You know, and for the alumni and all, that's great, but where it's really hits home is when you can get the parents involved with the students. That's what will bring us all to A schools, and that's what will take our city to the top. Thank you.
Let me say that the parents are, the parents are working hard, and they're donating a lot of their own money. And two, the turnaround time for this is not the kind of turnaround time where you have months and months and months to go out and you have time to raise funds. And then let me say that nobody suffered to me more than our children during COVID. They were home, in the houses, in their homes. They weren't in schools. They did not have that leadership, that guidance from their teachers that they were used to. They did not have, they weren't getting proper nutrition. They weren't getting a proper education. Many of them came back 1-2 years behind.
Still behind.
And they're still behind. And they're still suffering from COVID, because COVID is not over. And there's nothing wrong with bringing joy to the kids. There's absolutely nothing. It does not mean that another issue is not important, but we can care about this thing and care about something else. And I think that that's what we've all been doing with all of the ARPA funds and all of the COVID dollars. And I think it's okay to bring some joy to the children after 2-3 years of COVID. And the parents are working hard. And strong communities bring strong schools, strong communities, not just parental guidance and parental involvement. That's only one small factor. And as an educator myself, I've taught for 22 years. I can tell you that communities is what matter in education. Parents matter, but communities matter. And these are the same children that we want in our community to come back and serve their community. We don't want them to leave. We want them to go to college, and we want them to come back, and we want them to remember the day that their city cared enough about them to help them get to their goals and achieve their goals. And this is one opportunity where those boys, and I tell you what, every coach that coaches at Mainland High School went to Mainland High School. Pretty much 90% of the coaches. They went to Mainland High School, and they went to college. Some played in the NFL, some went to college, and they came back and they served their community. So we want this next round of young men to come back and serve their community. Because if they're not serving their community, and if they're not getting the mentorship that they need, then they're out doing things that you don't want them to do. And then you're going to come back and you're going to say, you know, the crime and the this, and well, if you let us invest in the children, and if you let us put mentors in their place, and we let those mentors mentor these young boys, if we help them to reach their goals and see happiness in other ways besides things that you and I may not approve of, that's when we reach our children. Everything can't just be just the children or just the parents. It has to be a community effort.
It takes a village to raise a child. We are that village. And I think $2.5 million to our citizens for money that we would normally have has already proven that we care about the citizenry. So now we're looking at the children. We wouldn't have this money to even help those children.
Nope.
You know? So the fact that we're willing to do so, I think it speaks volumes. And that's all I'm going to say, because I'm kind of feisty tonight.
Thank you. I'm feisty too, especially about this. Okay,
We do need a motion and a second and then a vote.
I need a motion and a second.
Are we specifically stating how much money, or just that we're going to do that
They
money?
got the whole item.
Okay, I move that the money that's on the list of the city clerk that has been designated by every commissioner and the mayor would be passed.
Okay, do I have a second?
Second.
All right, we have a motion, we have a second. All those in favor, let it be noted by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, same sign. Motion carries 7-0. Thank you, guys. Good luck, Buccaneers.
I'm serious now. I'm riding my bus.
Okay.
Me and somebody riding. I'm going down there.
I got you.
I'm embarrassed.
All right.
Books, go, books.
Mm-hmm.
Yes,
report just one thing. We did get information from the redevelopment team that the money for
The money for the businesses, until that money runs out, they will allow for businesses to continue to submit paperwork for the grants. So we won't know until the money runs out, but since that money is still available, businesses can still submit to the redevelopment team.
Okay. I think we need to address whatever it is that Commissioner May was saying that they were having difficulty with.
If they are having trouble with FEMA, all they need to do is work with the staff to show that they can contact staff. So this thing, if they can come and talk with staff and call right then and there, try to get on and they can, that is a form of saying they're not able to get in.
All right. Was FEMA the only issue, Commissioner May? Yes. Okay, so we can address that.
And I think
Okay.
I have to say something else. I sit up here and I listen to people, but there's a level of in my vote. It's off topic, but in my general makeup, I don't use words like respect and disrespect because culturally, you know what? It varies so much, city to city, country to country, and I'm a world traveler, so I see it so differently, as it comes to respect. But me as a person, I hold an office, and I represent Zone 3. So when people are disrespectful to me, they also have disrespect for me in my office as Zone 3. And so as the mayor, I'm asking you very kindly to at moments step in when we feel it's going in a terribly wrong direction. That's all that I really request. And I don't think it's not too much to us because my job is to represent Zone 3, my job is to run for office, my job is to win. I've done those things. And the attacks on me are unfair. It's not even about fairness. I swear I never use the word respect because everybody sees the world so differently. But I'm turning to you as my leadership in the role of mayor to please step in. In the beginning of our meetings, we have Ms. Letitia LaMagna speak about what is appropriate and what is not appropriate. But you're not insulting me, the person. You can do that outside. But you're insulting the office of Zone 3. And that is offensive. Whoever holds this office has that. That is offensive to me.
But let me say something. Join the club, Commissioner May. Because every Wednesday, I sit up here and I'm offended. Or someone strives to offend me, and that's why I don't meet with them today. So folks are going to get up here and say what they want to say. We've just got to have a hard shell and do what we've been called to do.
But it's not about having a thick skin. It's not even about that. It's about people are watching this, and it reflects on everything that we do. And if we allow that behavior to continue, it escalates and escalates and escalates, and then it doesn't stop. But I do my best to be civil. To me, governmental work is civil discourse. That's what it is. And that's all I'm asking for. I'm asking that I be treated. This is my request.
Okay, I apologize that you.
Censorship.
Exactly, I was.
And I understand what you're saying. I
don't have the right.
I do, and I feel. I don't want that to happen to you. I don't want it to happen to anybody. I get it. But where's the line?
Let me say something. First of all, I'm sorry that he offends you or people offend you. And I don't think that you should, that should happen. I wish that it doesn't happen or didn't happen. But the First Amendment has a broad brush to it, and my capacity to control what people say from that podium, in my opinion, is very limited. And it is not just you. I have not stepped in, as she said, when others were attacked on this dais. I have never really stepped in. And for probably 18 months to 2 years of one of my elections, I had people come up here with every manner of buffoonery and attacked me. I didn't step in then. So, you know, I just believe people have a right to say a lot of things up there. And I will consult with the city attorney to discuss, you know, what level of control I can have, but I would let you know that it's not going to be very great, because I believe and I know that they have a lot of right to what they say up there. And a part of being elected, unfortunately, and I believe that the business should be civil. That's why for a long time different commissioners moved the time and how much speech that the public could have to certain times in the meeting, because they didn't believe that that was the business of the city that people bring forth during public comment. And others of us, and I was one who didn't agree with that. I always believed that, you know, that should be pretty much a part of the meeting, that time should, because I believe in the First Amendment, and I believe in the fact that we are elected to hear from our representatives, even things that we don't like. Amen. And some of it shouldn't be personal, but I will have a conversation with him. I respect your feelings.
Thank you. Whether or not I have children is no concern of the public. It's no concern of anybody.
No, that comment was when he went over the line. Of course, he left to go sit down, but I agree with that was beyond the scope of what this meeting should be about. And I do concur with you about that. And intend to say that to him, both in private as well. You have any comments on this matter?
Not on this particular matter. I guess I could add that, you know, you are entitled to maintain decorum in here by requesting that speakers stay on point. I would fall short of saying that you would have a right to arrest or trespass someone based purely on the words that they were saying, unless it was elevated to a level of disturbing the peace. But decorum is important, and this is a business meeting. So you can certainly request that people stay on point and be respectful.
But when it's public comment, on point is a broad swath of what their point is. They're making a point about what they believe is important. Now that comment, I don't believe is any point of public business, and I agree with that.
But at the point where you silence people, then we do run into First Amendment issues.
Precisely. Okay. Yes, ma'am.
The Volusia Sheriff's Youth Foundation, whose sole purpose is to support the youth of our county through educational and athletic programs, has received several anonymous donations totaling $3,500 to send a bus load of students, chaperones, and snacks to this game. I am so proud of our business community and community members who believe in our youth and think this is an excellent way to invest in the future. I am glad to be a part of it.
Another bus. I got 4 buses. All right.
Well, I do know that
they tagged me in numerous posts asking me what colors would I be wearing to the game. And the good thing is I am a Blue Devil, so our colors are blue and gold. So I said, why would you think I wouldn't wear anything? But Polk County has 2 teams that are playing on the same day in the state championships. That's why they have so many buses going to the area. So let's keep our numbers going so we can have the whole city pack it up and go.
Pack it up. We should be packing it up. You should not be home. Okay. All right. Good job, Chief, Sheriff Chief.
Yeah, Sheriff Chief.
All right.
There was an announcement I neglected to make. As you know, Commissioner May and I contributed to Homes Bring Hope. And most recently, you and I went and judged the most recent, the homes that they had done in my zone on Caroline Street. So on next Thursday, December 15th, from 4 to 5:30, our First Lady, Casey DeSantis, will be here for the home warming of those 4 homes on Caroline Street.
Oh, that's awesome.
All right? Make sure I send this to you in case you want to be there. Okay?
What day is it?
It's next Thursday, the 15th, before the game. Oh, you going the Thursday night before?
I'm going Thursday night. I'll be down there.
This is 4 to 5:30. You can stop by here.
Well, I don't think I'll be gone.
You're going already.
Get out by 4 o'clock. Not the tailgate, to get ready to be up, wake up early and greet the buses, and I'm ready. I might have to go and talk to the coaches.
And the bus is leaving.
Pump them up. Okay. All right, so we got at least 5 buses already. I think that's 5 because I got the 5,000. Okay. Any other comments from the commission? No other comments? Okay, at this time we will continue with our,
I did want to mention briefly, if I could, about the vacation rentals.
yep, absolutely.
All right. You'll recall several months ago, the City Commission had a discussion about potentially adding vacation rental uses within the Surfside area. Out of that discussion, authorization was given to submit a question to the Attorney General. We have received a response from the Attorney General in the last week or so. And let me just read what the question was, just so the public and the commission is reminded, and then we'll talk about what their opinion was. All right? The question to the Attorney General was whether, consistent with Section 509.0327B Florida statutes, which prohibits any local law, ordinance, or regulation that regulates the frequency of rental of vacation rentals, may the city superimpose an overlay zoning district in a designated area over only certain portions of one or more underlying base zoning districts, thereby authorizing vacation rentals not otherwise currently allowed. And this section of the statute, in addition to having the state preemption for prohibiting vacation rentals, also has a grandfathering clause, which says that anything that was adopted prior to June 2011 is grandfathered and doesn't violate the preemption. So the city does have a grandfathered section which does prohibit vacation rentals throughout the city, with the exception of certain zones, primarily the T1 zones and some redevelopment zones. We allow vacation rentals. So in answer to this question, the Attorney General said, no, you can't use an overlay district to allow vacation rentals. They leave open the question about whether there might be some other options. For instance, could we change the base zoning? Could we create a new zoning district which would allow vacation rentals in certain areas? It's been discussed with the manager about maybe bringing this back as a workshop item for you to consider.
That's what I think we should bring it back as a workshop item. Does anyone disagree with that? We have to get this right. Can't get it wrong.
The issue the Attorney General raised is because you have an overlay district, you treat that base zoning differently in the overlay than you do from the areas outside of the overlay. And that's why I say it leaves open the question about if you just change base zoning or create a new zoning district that has vacation rental uses, that may not violate the preemption in the same way. So a third option, if you will, would be to go back to the AG with a follow-up question.
And I think we should craft the question anyway. Could we ask you to craft the question and go ahead and ask the follow-up question?
We could, if I had some directions about which way you wanted to go, right? So,
Okay, so we need to have the,
yeah, planning will need to look at the zoning in the area that we want to include vacation rentals. There's a lot of different zoning districts within the beachside tourist area. We could identify certain zoning districts and change them to a T, for instance, but that would impact other uses, you know, with the base zoning that currently exists and create grandfathered uses. So it's a bit complicated, if you will. Or we could create a new zoning district, which would be more consistent with the existing use for that area, and just add vacation rentals to that as a new designation. So a couple different options there. We want to probably look at the map, identify the properties that you want to seek to add vacation rental uses to, and then from that, craft the question.
okay.
Based on what we're planning on doing, would that impact the entire city? So if we use one designation and we say this new designation would allow it, would that mean that if we have that particular zone, that particular usage would go throughout the city?
Yes, and that's exactly what the AG was saying, is you've got to be consistent throughout the city with your zoning designation. So you can't limit the frequency of zoning rentals by selecting an overlay. Whatever zoning district you use would be applied throughout the city for that zoning district.
So it's not based on geography. This sounds as though the goal, what was happening was based on geography, a narrow defined margin between A and B. And now, from what it's sounding and the explanation you gave me previously, was it's a zoning district. It would go everywhere that this particular zone is. this particular usages.
But some zones are only applicable in very limited areas. And as I said, we could create a new zoning district, which would only be applicable in certain areas. So there is some choice to be made there.
Yeah, so it's still conceivable that it could be to a narrow area.
Right, you could have a narrow application with a single zoning district.
Yeah. Okay. So, yeah, let's have a workshop to get it right. Okay. All right, at this time, we will listen to the residents of Daytona Beach and those who are visitors and business owners, et cetera.
Our first speaker is Vincent Andrews, and on deck is Frederick Brown.
Mr. Mayor, commissioners, hi. Members of the other commissioners as well, good evening. My name is Vince Andrews, born and raised here in Magnolia, just west of MLK, till I graduated in high school. So I'm here more on as an informative situation. The reason I'm here is to introduce myself and my company that I work for called Funds.org. I heard you guys talking about money, and funds. So hopefully I can be of assistance with that. A few days ago, I mailed a couple of you guys some articles. Maybe you had a chance to look at it. If you have not, that's what it's about. It's about email about the city of East Point, Georgia, outside of Atlanta, where we partner with them in raising funds for one of their elementary schools. So like you, I love Daytona Beach, so I thought about that, and that's why I'm here. Funds.org is the #1 shoe drive fundraising company in North America that provides organizations the ability to make money with no out-of-pocket expenses, without asking anyone to reach in their pockets and buy anything. So we're going to put, and also we in turn take those shoes that we collect from funds, send them to underdeveloping countries for individuals to help pull themselves out of poverty. So it's a win-win, and I call it a three-sided angel. But the shoe drive provides you with funds that you can use for beautification projects and all the other stuff that you're up here talking about. You need funds for police athletic leagues and anything that you can come up with. The way it works, members of your organization collect gently worn and used shoes throughout for a 2-month period or so, however long we deem. At the end of those 2 months, we come over and pick up the shoes, drive them back, process them, weigh them, and then you cut you guys a check for whatever it needs that you earned at that time. I like to come back at some point in time and speak with you individually at some point, whatever organizations or things you want to raise funds for, and see if I can help you out with that. But that's how it works. I know that you just had a police officer that needs some funds. This would be an excellent idea, so you don't have to stand on the corner and beg your citizens and constituents for funds. Empty out your closets with shoes that you've probably been wanting to get rid of anyway for a little while, give you an opportunity to buy some more, and those shoes go to a good cause, and in turn, that cause gives you funds that you can do to do some of the things you'd like to do with here in Daytona. Last, I'm going to say off the record that win or lose, they still winners, even if they don't win that game. So those boys are winners, even if they come back. Treat them just like they won.
Oh, yeah.
All right. Thank you for your time, and I'll be sending you guys something individual at a later time.
Okay. Thank you. Let me ask you, do you, with this, it could be any charity, and you're just you're taking shoes and sending them to folks who need them, and then you're gonna give us money, a check for basically for collecting shoes that would help.
For the shoes by the pound, thank you. So you collect 25,000 pounds. We pay you at 50 cents a pound. You do the math. The shoes should be gently worn and used. We don't want used shoes that they can't use, but we send the shoes to under the developing countries. Those folks in turn set up micro businesses, pull themselves out of poverty because they use the shoes to set up business for themselves. Right now, most of our shoes are going to Haiti, the DR. We're getting ready to send some back over to the Ukraine because right now we can't get in there. Some of the shoes that are too bad to use are being processed and used for playground activities. They're being recycled that way. So we keep shoes out of the landfill. There's all kind of good environment to this program. I knew nothing about this company. I stumbled in it It was the grace of God because I love doing something that's giving back. So that's why I'm here because I like I said, I love my city. I'm doing it with other cities, and I thought this is where I want to try to help out as well. So I'm glad I'm here. Thank you for your time.
Jim Cameron, if you're listening, this may be a good project for us to execute in the city to help us pay for students for the summer rec program. So in other words, if we had the city staff and the entire city, if we did a shoe drive for everybody in Daytona Beach to bring their shoes to a certain location, it could be for a weekend. We don't have to do it for a long period of time. And then we could take all those. How do you pick them up?
We come pick them up in the truck. We send you bags that we bag them up. So that's a group effort. We ask that we put 25 pairs to a bag. That gives us an idea of what the weight is per bag. It usually comes out to about 25 pounds. And then we have box trucks that we have all over the country right now that are currently running. So we coordinate that with our logistics team, and we just come over and pick them up.
So if, Mr. Manager? Well, I know, yeah. So maybe they should listen, everybody's, I know staff, I know y'all go back and have y'all secret meeting when you tell them what to do. But I hope you all are listening. I think this is a good possibility for us to run a citywide effort to raise money specifically for the kids who can't pay for camp. And we like the one Ms. Traeger helped. And I think the community would get behind it. So thank you.
Thank you. Thank you for your time.
When did you send that email?
A couple of days ago, it came from T. Angelo Andrews.
Did you receive it? I did not.
Oh, I've received it. I know.
I definitely sent it to you because I recognize your name, so I can resend it to you.
Will you send it?
Absolutely.
Oh, it might have been when they were transferring my tab. Maybe I lost it.
It was last week sometime.
Will you send it to me?
You bet I will.
Okay.
Okay.
Thank you, brother.
You got it?
Mm-hmm.
There it is.
Okay. Appreciate it.
Appreciate you guys. Thank you for your time, Commissioner.
Okay, our next speaker is Frederick Brown, and on deck is Marjorie Johnson.
Frederick Brown, 1508 Crescent Ridge, Daytona Beach. Again, I can tell you that state championship is definitely a big honor, and it's definitely important to the kids. And I still feel that parents need to be there to support their kids. Like I say, I did it with mine, and it was a great experience. And any that don't support it, it's lost for both sides. So I wish the Buccaneers the best. But I will say this, there's a lot of business in the city that we need to attend to as well. First of all, we had a presentation today from DOT. Sadly, if you go to their website, they were supposed to post a final report from the October summary of the local visit. It was never published. I contacted the project manager, left a message, told him it was urgent, still haven't heard back. There's several things about that project that kind of disturb me. It's kind of like putting a Band-Aid on an amputation. We're talking about a major thoroughfare here in the city. We're talking about, and thank you, Mayor, for at least asking the questions about the flood issues, because there are flood issues there. We need to step up the game and not just go with a Band-Aid. I think, working with the DOT is important, but there's some other issues that weren't even discussed. Taking 15% of the capacity of the road off in a time when we're growing by that every year, and by that I mean they want to reduce the speed limit to 30 miles an hour. Well, that's just going to cause more issues, more road rage, more problems. That was never even discussed. Without a doubt, Mason Avenue was never designed to be a 4-lane road, and it now is. We need to take it a little bit more seriously, take it a little bit more in depth. We need to fix the flood problems as well. The Butts pump at the retention pond. I don't hear any status from the staff. That was pulled from service. It's not capable of handling what needs to be handled. I've also talked about sister cities, how that could help us. I don't know that Bayonne, France, and I don't have anything against them, has done anything for the city of Daytona. We've exchanged students back and forth. That's great. But if I've emphasized previously, Holland is where they deal with dikes, flooding, problems where you have coastal flooding issues where they're below sea level. I think that would be beneficial to the city, and I strongly encourage you to look at that for a sister city program. Beach restoration is essential. We are the world's most famous beach. Right now, I don't see a beach. It's pretty well gone and damaged. Obviously, that's going to hurt our businesses and our community, not to mention our morale and our kids.
Our next speaker is Marjorie Johnson, and on deck is John Nicholson.
Marjorie Johnson, 122 South Key Street. I like to say that you people are not respecting our residents when you took away our freedom of speech in the meeting under Jim Chisholm. This is very disrespectful. When you get up here and tell lies on our resident. Respect is a two-way street. If you want respect, then you need to give it to our residents who are paying your salary, and you're getting paid to do your job. John Nicholson have come up here and spoke many times about relevant issues in this city, and Paula Reed and others have told lies that he's not telling the truth. And he does his research, and he's done an excellent job here representing this city for many years, and has never been criticized under any other mayors that was ever set here to represent the residents of this city. And I would like to say that in my neighborhood, the trash is not being picked up. It is there, loaded on the streets with furniture. I went to the white community, all their trash was gone. I called the waste company today and reported trash had been there since the hurricane and the furniture, and it's still out there. We are being neglected. You are here to do the people's work, and you've known for years about this flooding. You've been here 3 terms. You're talking about people respecting you. You do not meet with the residents of Zone 6, Paula Reed. I had a meeting with you. You never showed up, and you never. Let's set up another meeting. That was 8 years ago. So I would like to say that Cottle Circle, Hudson Street, all these roads, Bartley Road, Cedar Park, Willie Drive was flooded. Libby Coleman came here and spoke to you people and told you, Mayor Hendry and Paula Reed, that you all had never been accessible to her, and she's crying. She lost everything in her house over there on Cottle Circle, and that pond was not drained over there. I spoke with Andrew that lived right next door to her. That pond should have been drained so that those people on Cottle Circle would not have to suffer so much. So when we come up here to speak, and you should not be complaining. You need to do your job that we are paying you to do. Your one city, one vision is turning into one terrible nightmare. And together we can do more, but you haven't done more because you've been here 3 terms, and the flooding problem has not been fixed, and it has not been addressed. So we want that trash picked up in our neighborhoods. I called them, I had them to come out and tag it, and I stay on them. I am the one that got at this podium and spoke for the residents to get back in the meeting after Jim Chisholm, Paula Reed, and the others took us out. Thank you.
Okay. Our next speaker is John Nicholson, and on deck is Malcolm Williams.
John Nicholson, 413 North Grandview Avenue. Monica, welcome and congratulations. Secondly, Juanita, thank you for bringing up Seabreeze. There are 2 liquor licenses. One is a 5 COP, the other is an SRX. 5 COP is hard liquor. It's a bar. SRX is a restaurant. So when you look at Seabreeze, make sure that they tell you which ones are restaurants and which ones are bars. There is 1 bar on Seabreeze, the others are restaurants. We went through this on Main Street. Main Street had an ordinance passed. If you have $10,000 worth of restaurant equipment, You did not do that for Seabreeze, so look at it carefully. Again, I think you changed the rule. It used to be 500 feet between establishments. That definitely does not apply for that second block of Seabreeze. With the development, I asked Jim Chisholm to put boards at all entrances for meetings. I'm asking when there is a meeting for a neighborhood, for a planned development, that it be on the board so that we know. Because they send out a notice for 250 feet around, but if you don't live in that 250 feet, you're not aware of it, and it does affect the entire beachside or the entire midtown or the entire downtown or whatever. So I think we should be notified by the city. Getting back to what happened earlier, I do apologize for that. It was awkward. But I go through that. All right? It's a two-way street. When Letitia reads it in the morning, she says, the residents must respect the commissioners. Nowhere does it say the commissioners have to respect the residents. And often, there are comments made, not only to me, but others. But after I walk from this podium, bad comments are made from the speakers and as I pass them on the way to my seat. That should not happen. All right? Paula gave us, one of the commissioners gave a specific number. 90% of what I say is not true. For 7 years, I commented about rollback. I said we were going to have a major tax increase. We can't do it. We ended up with a 27% tax increase. I said there would be development west of 95. Rob Gilliland said there will be no houses west of 95 before 2025. There are houses in Margaritaville and Mosaic. LPGA needed to be widening. Oh, it's going to be widened 2049. It needs to be widened now. So these things that I'm told I was wrong on was not. I've got 10 more others. Thank you.
Our next speaker is Malcolm Williams, and on deck is Bobby Hudson.
2049 is wrong.
Oh, Lordy. All right, good evening. My name is Malcolm Williams, 1006 Liberty Avenue. First, let me say congratulations to all of those people that have been elected. It's been a minute since I've been back to this podium, and I want to say that we, the community, are 100% behind you guys, support you guys, and thank you for your service to this great city. There's a lot I'm going to go through, so please try to keep up. One, Paula Reed, I want to say, if you do take the time out and ride with our city manager to our hookah lounges, please just don't ride by. We have some of the owners that are in the back that are good citizens to this community, and they do a really good job. Please go inside, see the hard work that they put in to renovate these spaces, keep them upscales, because I am a hookah industry owner. And I say we do put a lot of work into our businesses, and they do strive, and they do make an impact in this community for all the right reasons. When the trucks came in, we was like, oh no. When the Jeeps come in, we say thank you. Why? Because the Jeep community give back to this city. These young men, they give back to this city, and I hope that you guys can see that. I also want to say that we are excited for the third run of the Santa Run in this city, and I hope that we can get more of the community involved, not all on the same day. Next year, we do have a plan or a plan that we like to present that'll keep the Santa Run alive for every zone to participate in next year, and we hope to see that come to life. I also want to say, how much time I got left? I also want to say, where's my list? Yes. There are 3 hookah lounges in this city and 5 cigar lounges. The hookah lounges are the only ones that are meant for a generation like me, the under 40, the under 25, the over 18. And here's the thing. Somebody made a comment about it, oh, it's fake nicotine, all that stuff. No, I want you to come in because we just don't do nicotine in our hookahs. There are non-nicotine hookahs as well. But here's what I want you to understand. One hookah can cost up to $200-300. We do not want to put that into jeopardy into our establishment. That's why it is important to go inside and see these industries, because they are meant for us to enjoy. Just like when you see a older young man, let's go there, a dapper man in a nice suit with a cigar and a cup of bourbon, you don't say nothing bad about that. You think he has class. He comes from a lawyer status. He is representing himself well. The hookah industry is being represented well in this city. It's just one thing that is true. One bad apple can't spoil a bunch. And I hope that you guys do take into consideration from our city manager and our police department and look at the data, but also see the heart of the people that are doing it right. We are not attacking the atmosphere. You guys are attacking the industry. And I want you to understand the industry and the environment are two different things, but they are a part of the same problem. But we also have a solution, and us, the owners, wish that you guys would not just see the problems, see the data that you are getting, but come step into our world. It's not a nightlife world. It is a luxury item that we present to this city at a reasonable cost. Thank you.
Our next speaker is Bobby Hudson, and on deck is Sunil Kumar.
Good evening.
Good evening, Ms. Hudson.
This is just a follow-up. The FEMA people were in my neighborhood in the Walnut Street area today, and I spoke with them, and they are telling me to spread the word and to talk to those who are complaining about the debris that's still in their in front of their residence, that this debris has to be separated, and this is what is causing and contributing to the holdup of them picking it up. They pick up all of the household furnishings, and then they pick up the debris from the trees and stuff. It can't be together. And so I think you mentioned that just a moment ago. But that is what the problem is with. Okay, all right, well, this is what some of the, and I also talked to the representative of the Civil Rights Division. She was along with them, and they were going door to door, just getting some samples and the feeling of the neighborhood as to, what their concerns were about the FEMA.
Okay.
All right.
Thank you. Appreciate that. Staff sent it out, and then we'll send it out again. The same issue.
It was a notice on the Channel 9 television today also in reference to the separation of the debris and things that they would pick up and why they were slow about picking up some of the stuff.
Okay. Thank you.
Our next speaker is Sunil Kumar, and on deck is Antoine Gandhi.
Good evening, all official commissions and all the members sitting in this house. And I thank Malcolm here to explaining a lot of things in 3 minutes, because I cannot cover most of the things in 3 minutes. I just wanted to ask, if we sat down at 2 o'clock, I have more than 10 to 15 videos in my phone because I stay all night there, having a gunshot fight, everything before 2 o'clock. If I sat down at 2 o'clock, there is no guarantee there is no crime. So the crime is not a part of the business. I can assure that I can take assurance of not happening anything inside my establishment. If that happens, and I'm ready to take the conditions, like anything, if that happens, I'm ready to follow whatever the new condition comes up. But right now, let me just mention some of the incident happens. Couple months happened, one gunshot near to Grandview and the Lollipop. So the Grandview and Lollipop is still operating. They closed at 2 o'clock, but that happened before that. So they are still operating that. So there is no, voice raised against that. Why is that? And I'm telling, we have a business only after 2 o'clock. I am ready to open the business at 2 o'clock, not to close at 2 o'clock. Because I have only business from 2 to 4. The reason behind is that all the bars and the clubs is old and established. They get all the business till 2 o'clock, and I have a like nice couch, love seat. Most of the light works. As he have been there, he's seen all those things. A lot of like police chief also have spoke. He said like you guys run like a militant, and all those things. And he recognized us. And I am not here to like represent all the hookah lounges, but I'm here to represent my own business. So I'm ready to like take all the laws and all over comes up, and I respect the law and order and all over the things. But one girl also got sliced and massaged next to the Wells Fargo called 7-Eleven. So 7-Eleven do the same thing what we are doing. They are selling nicotine products, we are selling nicotine products. Wawa selling nicotine products, we are selling nicotine products. All the gas stations selling nicotine products. So why they are still able to sell all those nicotine products after 2 and 24 hours? And we can't do that. Even we are giving that options to the people who are highly drunk and all those things, those who can't drive and go home. So they're coming to my establishment. If they can bring themselves in and sit, they can have a like relax there for 1 hour and all those things. They can smoke, and the nicotine we have is with the like without nicotines and with nicotines. They can smoke both of them, and that doesn't give any highness, any like alcoholic things, whatever that gives up. So like I just wanted to say I'm like kind of supporting the community, but having less accident, driving drunk, having less crash, less violence, all those.
Excuse me, sir. Young man.
Excuse me.
Young man, before you walk away, what was your name?
Sunil Kumar. SUNILKUMAR.
And what's the name of your hookah bar?
Follow the smoke.
Follow the Smoke? And the address?
He did provide his phone number.
631 North Grandview Avenue, Daytona Beach, Florida 32118.
And he was actually one of the individuals that met with me and Commissioner Strickland.
All right, I just want a name with when I go to see where you, okay. A face.
I'm all good now?
Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Our next speaker is Antoine Gandy, and on deck is Dr. Abby Days. Davis.
Antoine Gandy, 502 Seabreeze Boulevard. I spoke with y'all a couple weeks ago. I invited everybody on this board to come to the Hookah Lounge to see it for yourself, to see what we do and how things operate. I spoke with the police chief earlier, and he said 77 calls or something like that was for the Hookah Lounge in this past year. And I have every call from every establishment on Seabreeze. We had the fewest. And out of those 77, 40% of those wasn't even related to our establishment. They just happened to be in the vicinity of our establishment. Now, me, myself, personally, I take pride in it. We cleaned that place up. I have 6 security guards that work on duty there. I had an off-duty officer, Officer Doe, for a while until he retired because I couldn't get any other officer to come over there and do a detail. Now, me, I take my business serious. I travel other places, other cities to see how they operate and wonder, okay, in Orlando, how do they stay open 4 or 5 in the morning? Well, I go in there and I look at it, and these are upscale establishments. Hard bottoms. These are, just not the 18 and up places like I have. And I talked to Jakari. Me and him have a relationship. Spoke with him last year when there was issues he wanted me to fix up, and I did that. I have no problem with working with the police. I have a great relationship with Lieutenant Gerner. He knows that as well. We just spoke. I told him, hey, let's work closer together so we won't have these incidents. We won't have the crowding outside, the car incident, parking lot incidents because there's not enough police manpower. I have 6 armed security guards outside contracted company when the officer detail, when Officer Doe retired. We protect the patrons in and out in front of our venue. When people disperse and go to 7-Eleven, Waffle House, or wherever, I can't police them. It's people right here on the corner Wild Olive and Seabreeze. And I said, hey man, y'all don't mind coming in or maybe moving from right here by the corner because it makes me look bad. And everybody that ride by or whatever, oh, that's the hookah. Oh, it's the hookah. Anything that transpired with anybody of African American descent in that area, they're gonna be said to come out of the hookah lounge. They couldn't even been over there, walk by it or nothing. But because, excuse me, the business is owned by African American, oh, they gotta come out. I can elaborate, but that's my time. I'll talk to y'all in the next couple of weeks. Thank you. I emailed this council. Did y'all get that letter that I emailed them? I emailed the whole board a letter. I'm not sure if y'all received it. Did y'all? It was a couple weeks ago. I went on the city website. I got it.
Okay, thank you, sir.
I emailed it to everybody. So
Send it again, but I think I received it.
you received it?
I believe so. It's been 2 weeks.
Yeah, about 2 weeks.
Get a lot of, but go ahead. Just send it again.
Okay, thank you.
You want Dr. Davis?
Hi, I'm Dr. Davis, Madison Heights, 1437 Illinois Street. I've been a resident there for over 60 years. Well, no, 60, because I just turned 60. However, my concern, and I apologize for approaching, but I was misled, so forgive me for that. My concern is Madison Heights. That's my home. That's where my mother's home is. I'm concerned about the streets. I'm concerned about the crime. But most of all, and this was brought up in a meeting that we had where Malcolm Williams had attended in our community, what we need to do about this situation that we're having out there. I would like to know, I was told that there was a city meeting for Madison Heights. I was not informed, and several of us were not informed that there was going to be a meeting concerning Madison Heights. We don't know what the notification was, but I know personally I didn't get one. And there were 7 people that were in attendance. I would like to know when these meetings happen, how we're notified, so that we could get an understanding of what we need to do to better our community. From my understanding, the mayor, the mayor, the city manager, the chief of police were there attending, and Chief Chitwood, Sheriff Chitwood was there attending this meeting. Well, assistant, okay, my mistake. However, we would like to be a part of this so we'll know what's going on in our community and how we can make it a better community and a safer community for, just for our citizens that are within that zone. So when we have these meetings, how can we start a neighborhood watch meeting? We would love to do that. I don't know if it's governed by the city, but that's something that we're interested in.
Neighborhood watch meetings are not governed by the city, but they are supported in the sense that we like to try to send folks to, like law enforcement, people from code enforcement may come, but you'd have to establish the meeting and then start getting with the police chief, and your commissioner usually would be supportive of that if, but that's something, a neighborhood watch meeting is something you and the community of Madison Heights, I think, is an ideal space to create such an organization.
Okay, thank you. So in the future, when there's meetings concerning Madison Heights, how are we notified?
Well, if a meeting, any commissioner or any individual can call a meeting. I was in attendance at the meeting. And it probably was promoted on social media. And it was just a meeting. I was there to just share insight about things going on in the city and ways that we could help Madison Heights.
Okay, so are there any, the results from that meeting, is there anything that we can see concerning what took place in that meeting?
No.
Okay, let me address that.
Okay.
Okay, so the meeting in Madison Heights was a meeting that Ms. Butler King, who lives in Madison Heights, asked if I would do a meeting. The city staff got ready for the meeting. We did the meeting, and I and my children and their friends went around in Madison Heights and put flyers out. We gave flyers to, I hung some on doors. My kids talked to people personally. I talked to people personally and asked them to come to the meeting, me. Whoever attended the meeting, there was a person that attended the meeting. It wasn't you? You weren't at that meeting?
I didn't know anything about the meeting.
Okay, it was someone else that was at the meeting, and she had all the issues. We brought in everyone from the city. We brought in the assistant city manager. I brought in the mayor. We brought in the police chief. We brought in the sheriff. All of those people to come and speak. And she said that she had a list of concerns for Madison Heights. And the police chief said to her, would you please, she said, I don't know who to give this list to. The police chief said to her, would you personally give the list of all the concerns to me? I am going to make sure they are all addressed. I don't think that she gave the list to the police chief as of yet. And that meeting was back in October, I think. So, and then the assistant city manager asked what areas of concern there were. And she didn't give anybody any of the lists. So she said she had talked to everybody in Madison Heights. She had talked to a lot of people out there, and that she was going to bring a list. And she did not bring a list that I know of. The police chief is gone. The assistant city manager is gone. That I know of, the list was not given as of yet. So the meeting was asked by another resident in Madison Heights, and that's how the meeting was done. Now, if there is another meeting in Madison Heights and you all would like to put the meeting on because you feel like you feel like people will be more, you can reach more people than what I reached, then just let me know and I will show up to the meeting. But as far as what I did, I went door to door and I gave out flyers. And my children, and that's not something normally that a commissioner would do, but I did that because I didn't want anybody to say I wasn't aware of the meeting, I didn't get an opportunity to come to the meeting, I didn't get an opportunity to be heard or for my voice to be heard. That's the first thing. And the second thing is, Malcolm, the neighborhood watch president, he knows when the meetings are. So if you all spoke to Malcolm, then Malcolm can tell you when he has his neighborhood watch meetings. Because the zone has a neighborhood watch which takes place at Living Faith Church on the first Monday of every month.
That's true.
The commissioner does not run the neighborhood watch meeting. The commissioner really does not have that. That's not my job or any commissioner's job. It is the commissioner's job to come to the neighborhood watch meeting and listen to what the concerns of the people are and address the concerns of the people. But it's not the commissioner's job to, it's not, the commissioner.
Well, my thing was, I did not expect you to be the one to host it. My question was, how do I get one started?
Okay.
And that's all the question.
Okay.
That's all I asked. I don't know about this political stuff that's going on within this office or any other office. So I'm asking questions for my neighborhood.
And I'm trying to address those questions.
And I did not receive anything at my house.
I don't know if I know that we tried to make it door to door, and if you didn't get one, I don't know what happened that you didn't get one, but I can tell you that people know.
Okay, that's all.
Neighborhood.
That's all that I have.
That's all the questions you have?
Yeah, that's all the questions that I had about how do I basically
Just start one.
give our concerns.
Can help you right
Dr.
there.
Davis, we
And
have a
Ruby right there.
beachside neighborhood watch meeting. If you
Excuse
wanna-
me.
We have a beachside neighborhood watch meeting that Ann Ruby
Yeah,
runs. So
right
if
there.
you're more than welcome to attend, and if you need help.
Look, she'll talk to you right there behind
Thank you, sweetheart. Thank you.
She's a model.
Thank you.
Yeah.
All right, thank you.
Okay? Thank you.
Our next speaker is Suzanne Odina, and on deck is Steve Miller. Suzanne Odina, I'm sorry. You're up.
My name is Suzanne Odina, and I live at 716 North Wild Olive. First off, I want to say Jakari and his group are great. They do a fantastic job of cleaning up the messes. Situation in my neighborhood is not great. 4 murders within 9 months within 2 blocks of my house does not make my family feel good, does not make me feel good. When's it going to stop? I understand that the FBI is supposed to be in the Morgan & Morgan building. Someone told me that. I can't imagine the FBI being that close and having this situation go on. Ken gets a little tired of me texting in the middle of the night. We have situations with the Hard Rock. They claimed that they couldn't do anything about their language of their entertainers that was being blasted all over my neighborhood with the F-bomb every 4th word. That needs to stop. As far as the hookah bar, I think you said one time that your grandmother said nothing good happens after midnight. I'd like to see Seabreeze closed down at 2 o'clock in the morning so I can get some sleep. We have people that walk down the street knocking on the door, Ouija Kundig next door. Ken and I are texting to each other. Somebody's knocking on the doors. If it's Jakari's people coming to look at my cameras, they knock loudly, and I know it's them. But it's just not a good situation. My sister yesterday said she wasn't sure she wanted to come down to visit. Derek one time said he'd like to know how to brand Daytona Beach. We don't want it to be the murder capital of Daytona Beach as the Seabreeze neighborhood. Thank you. I also want to talk about the flooding issue. 70 years of flooding? Are you kidding me? That's a long time of flooding. So I really hope that somehow somebody figures out a way. I envied my neighbors with their basements. They had 3 feet of water in their basements, so I don't envy them anymore. I had water all the way almost up to my doorstep. I know it was an unusual situation for it to be that high, but my street shouldn't flood. Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Our next speaker is Steve Miller, and on deck is Jenny Nazak.
Steve Miller, 383 Walnut Street, beautiful Daytona Beach. Mr. Mayor, I'd like to apologize for my comments, sir, and I also would like to apologize to the Honorable Commissioner from Zone 3, Juanita May. I was grateful to hear you talk about the Neighborhood Watch tonight, and you're absolutely right. I'm chairman of the Neighborhood Watch at Midtown, and we get great support from the city code enforcement, and they was really started because of law enforcement officers. The community can actually get to know the law enforcement officers, and they have a contact person to talk to. And that lead me to, I would love for you to be the last speaker for the year on Monday, if you can, to our Neighborhood Watch.
No, I've already been this year.
This is the end of our year, sir.
Been 6 months ago, the end of your years. So Monday, what time? I don't know.
6:30.
It's basketball season.
Yeah, we know.
You know, I got to coach the kids down there, so I'll start out. Let me look on the calendar.
All right, I appreciate it. And thank you again for your support of the children of Daytona Beach. And you're right. You do have a lot of range, and you have championship too. In basketball, you're truly athletic, and we appreciate that. I also want to end by saying that I still want to be president of Team Henry.
Oh, Lord. Okay.
Our next speaker is...
You got to be a little nicer to be on my team.
Our next
You can be on the team, but you got to be nice. All right. Thank you, though.
Our next speaker is Jenny Nazak, and on deck is Emily Nice.
Hi, everybody. Jenny Nazak, 501 Harvey. I like the FDOT plan. This is the wave of the future. Having the rain gardens and having the puffy landscaping and slowing down the speeds. This is the wave of the future for the mighty automobile to have its proper place, and for other modes of transport, such as pedestrians, to be out there as well, and public transport as well. And it has to do with flood control, too. What else? Beachside residents, I'm talking to you. Whether you're listening in tonight via the channel or whether you're physically here in this room, let's raise money to send a bus, okay? I'm going to be phoning you, so you can either inbox me voluntarily or I'll be calling you. And we're gonna get $3,000 and we're gonna send a bus. Because we live in a city, we don't just live in a tourist town. If all we are is the world's most famous beach, honestly, I don't care. Like, I would not care about this place if it wasn't for the actual humans who live here with their kids and their grandkids and everybody together. All of us are going to be waking up tomorrow, and all of us will still be here, and maybe hopefully for many years down the road. And we have to support each other first. And we have to trust that if we treat each other with respect and love, then people will naturally be attracted to come here. We have to stop acting like a young woman with low self-esteem. Like, we have to stop, oh, how are we gonna attract boys? Don't ask me how I know this, please. But I'm 60 now, my self-esteem is much better. But we have to stop acting like this. We have to have pride, like we take care of our beautiful, wonderful people. That's the best part of our city. Let's see, what else was I going to say? Oh, Daytona Beach Permaculture Guild, AKA A Girl and Her Checkbook, is going to be instituting a Puffy Landscaping Award. Since the Girl and Her Checkbook is not a large checkbook, it won't be like mega cash prizes, but there will be small cash prizes for people engaged in Puffy landscaping. Stay tuned.
Thank you.
Jenny, I like your T-shirt.
Yeah, me too.
Oh, yeah. My T-shirt.
That's nice.
Speaking of our city.
Our
does.
next
She
speaker is
bad
Emily
woman.
Nice, and I'm sorry, Ms. Joyce, what was the first name? Charisma.
Hi, good evening, everyone. Pleasure to
evening.
be here. I just wanted to personally thank Commissioner Cantu for all of her work on the FDOT project for Basin Avenue. This is a wonderful opportunity to turn the city around. We are at the crossroads. We can do something about this now. Yes, it has been neglected, but together with the other TPO, Bicycle and Pedestrian member, and I'm on the TPO as well, thanks to Commissioner May for nominating me for that. But we have a great team combined with Andy, of course, working on this. We've done a lot of research on it. We've spent a lot of time, and we hope that we can continue to get your support, the community's support, because first of all, of course, it is an evacuation route with the 2 hurricanes we've had. That's been made very real to us, the importance of the flow, the safety. I've been up here before explaining about the number of fatalities and accidents. That, of course, is terribly tragic for the families involved, but Also, this is taking our police resources as well, which we're already limited on, and thankfully, Chief Jakari is doing some very thoughtful and constructive measures to improve that. But also, yes, it's an evacuation route, but it is a major thoroughfare. This is not a neighborhood road like we experience. So we have to be careful in our choices about how we redesign this. And when we submit for phase 2 for the safety redesign, we need to carefully consider how this is going to affect businesses. Businesses don't have time to have their trucks and employees sitting at red lights. We need this major thoroughfare to continue. Residents and visitors alike need to be able to get from point A to point B very quickly, as most other cities are designed with a thoroughfare, and then you have your smaller neighborhood roads aside from that. So we appreciate your support in considering the needs of Mason Avenue for the future, and we'll of course be working more on that in the days ahead. I also just want to say, as the neighborhood co-chair of Seabreeze Neighborhood Watch, we are absolutely not in favor of the hookah bars continuing to exist. They have been a nightmare to live with. As I've said before, 98% of us have a fear of crime. And we would like that improved.
Thank
Okay.
you.
Thank you. Happy holidays.
Our next speaker is Charisma Joyce, and on deck is Ann Ruby.
Good evening, good evening. I speak on behalf of Madison Heights, 1537 Illinois Street. First, thank you. I understand you have a lot of other people, not just Madison Heights. However, a little upset with the meeting because at my residence, someone is there 24 hours, or the residents that I'm representing right now, someone is there 24 hours because my grandmother can't walk or move. So there's always somebody always at that house, never received anything. All these ladies back here, they all live there. Most of them, we've been here 60 some odd years, myself 40 years. So it's a little concerning that there's something going on in that neighborhood that we don't know about. I get it, that you do have a lot of places and people to see in your area. However, that door-to-door thing, whatever happened, didn't reach any of our doors. And we've been out there for so long. So it's a little uncomfortable knowing that things are happening in our neighborhood and we're not being a part of it. Yes, Malcolm is out there, and we speak with him. I speak with him because my son attends Palm Terrace, and I'm on the SAC board with him, and I talked with him. He didn't know anything about it either. Mr. Williams, Odell Williams, he has tried to do a neighborhood watch for us, and then things didn't come together the way they probably should have, and I get that. That's on us. But when there's meetings in our area, we just want to know about it because that's my neighborhood. I grew up there. I was born in Clearwater, but I was raised in Daytona. Madison Heights is my neighborhood, so I'm highly concerned with anything that goes on out there. There's children, there's a lot of older people, and they're homeowners. So that concerned me a lot. Moving forward, we're just asking that make sure they're really door-to-door, really do door-to-door for us, myself, these ladies, and the people that live out there, because my grandmother's been on that same corner on Illinois and Kentucky for about 60 years, and everyone that anybody that's out in Madison Heights knows Dissalute. They know Miss Curry. And then they know Miss Pauline's house she's gone now, but her mom, Dr. Davis' mom is. And when we're not contacted about our own neighborhood, it's highly concerning. Again, I'm just asking when we do this again that we be contacted. Ms. Butler King, thank her for what she's done, but for the rest of us, we're just in the dark. Thank you.
Mr. Mayor, let me say this. I apologize if you all did not get a letter. I apologize if you.
There's no need to argue about
Yeah, I apologize. But what I will, but I do want to say is that I did, on my broken foot, walk through Madison Heights on my broken foot and go door to door. And then I did have children with me, so whether each child got to every house or what those teenagers did, I can't really say. But I will say this.
I can name about 15 houses.
No talking. You can't talk too late.
Okay.
Call a meeting.
Okay. So what I will say is, if you all would like to call a meeting, and I would definitely show up, because this is not that I'm too busy for Madison Heights. I'm not too busy for Madison Heights. I do want to address your issues. I want to address your issues. I have been addressing your issues. I do want to continue to address your issues. I want to continue to address your issues, and I will continue to address your issues, and I will work with you. I don't want to make this political, because it can kind of seem, some people, and not maybe you all per se, but some people are making it political. But I want to work with you. I want to address your issues. I live in that community, and I have lots of people that I know in Madison Heights, that I grew up with in Madison Heights, and I want to work with you. If you want to work with me, if you genuinely want to work with me to address whatever concerns you have, and not tussle together, and let's work together and say, hey, Commissioner Henry, this is issue 1 that I'd like to see addressed. How can you help us address issue 1? And then I'll say, well, I'll need to bring in the police chief for that issue. Commissioner Henry, this is issue 2. How can we address issue 2? I want to do that with you. I don't want to fight with you. I just want to work on you and address your issues and help you all be happy, because your quality of life is important to me. And if you have crime and you have children out there and they're there, I don't want crime in your community, because I don't want a child being harmed on my watch. So if you will work with me, and if you will put everything aside, let bygones be bygones, as far as you feeling like you've not had my attention, I will meet with you. I will work with you. I will address your issues. Thank you.
Okay, Ann Ruby, 137 Park Avenue. I have to say, I love the new app. It is phenomenal. I'm never going to miss another meeting again, because sometimes I miss Downtown Redevelopment Board, like always. So I do wish there were, because I always have to tweak everything, I wish there were 2 other buttons on the app, one for code enforcement and one for community meetings. And if the community meetings one, what? If the community meetings one could have like the contact phone number, because not all community meetings meet all the time. But I think that would be a good addition, so that when people pick up the app, they might go, oh, a community meeting, or a neighborhood meeting, whatever you want to call it, but it doesn't have to be, anyhow. I would like to invite every one of you up here to come to our Beachside Neighborhood Watch, whether you're on the beach side or not. You're more than welcome to come and be a guest. Monica has already braved the guest speaker spot. Thank you, Monica. You did a great job, and we look forward to having you. And one of the key features to having a successful neighborhood meeting, we have discovered, is food. So offer some food. People will come. Thank you. Have a good night. Happy holidays, everyone. Thank you.
Thank you. That was our final speaker.
All right, Daytona Beach, thank you for a great, spirited, long, wonderful meeting. Good night.